Today.
What I'm talking about today.
Compare national, state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is like 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put it right in the registration booth with it.
Just this ever-evolving story.
Okay.
Welcome to Let's Grow Polling. My name is Jason Schultz. I'm 50 years old now. Kenzie's 26 still, until April 13th.
Yeah.
She'll be 27. We're starting a little bit early tonight. Logan Stevens and Randy will be jumping on a little bit, but we want to talk about California.
Hang on. We're gonna fucking go on.
Today.
Today.
What I'm talking about today.
Compare national, state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is like 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put it right in the registration booth with it.
Just this ever-evolving story.
Hello, friends. Welcome
Hi,
back,
guys.
Kenzie. We're back from California. Starting a little bit early tonight just because we want to talk about California. Logan Stevens is going to be coming on with Randy Fishbaugh here in about 10 minutes. We got the Batliners lined up. They have the Super Hick Massey Ferguson Super Farm. That's our first guest at 7:30 Central. And then at 8 o'clock Central, we're going to bring on Steve Barker, the live wire. Blown four-wheel drive trucks are cool. I think every association should have blown four-wheel drive trucks.
Mhm.
They're neat.
Yeah,
They're like super modified two-wheelers, but they're got four-wheelers on them, and they hook it up. And then at 8:30, Robbie Fagundas. He kind of won the internet this weekend. We always thought of Robbie Fagundas as a mini rod guy. He's got himself a modified tractor now. So the modified class out west with MLM Motorsports is actually the how do I say this? It's the Outlaw ITPA modified rules. 7,400 pounds, so you can have the different combinations. I don't know modified tractors like Logan does. Logan can talk about that if we dive into that. But Robbie built a brand new tractor from scratch. Built his own chassis, put some modern parts on it. He's going to talk about the motor program. Obviously, his future son-in-law, Brant Sullivan, with Sullivan Racing Engines, has probably a lot to do with putting the motors together, I would guess. Don't you think, Kenzie?
I would say most of it.
I would say, yeah, pretty good chance of that.
Mhm.
But he knocked it out of the park. Had made awesome pass Friday night. I think he kicked rods out at the end. We're going to show that video. Actually, we have that video. Where did I put that, Kenzie? Here, we'll show his Friday night run right now. Let's see here. So this is what we got going on tonight. Here's his Friday night run.
And right out the end, yeah, 340 and 24, and it's raining dirt. So 340 to get us.
I'll show you. I had to cut it. So that was the fuel there, or fuel or oil on the ground there. And then here is his run. Here's the actual run from Friday night.
400-pound modified class. The Central California Minis. You see it on there, the modified edition. Beautiful looking tractor here. Robbie Fagundas. As we have got 7 of these mods to run tonight. Old build chassis, parts and pieces from modern machine. Here we go, our test puller, the Californian.
So that was his Friday night run there, and a good look called the Californian. Okay, Robbie really ran the mini rods before. So again, just starting a little bit earlier night, talk about MLM Motorsports, Golden State Invitational. Kenzie and I were out there. Dan Mayer. Hopefully you guys got to watch it on Full Pull Live. We're going to start our regular podcast in about 5 minutes. Got David and Joe Batliner coming on. They had their Super Hick Massey Ferguson on display at the FFA National Convention, and that's where Logan met him. And I know I've talked to one of the Batliners before, probably at Louisville or some different pulls in the South. So excited to have you on with us tonight. It's going to be a big show. We're going to go super farming right away, and then we're going to go blown four-wheel drive trucks at 8 o'clock Central, and then we're going to finish up with Robbie Fagundas tonight. So we got 3 great guests for you tonight. As always, we want you to type in the comments and stuff like that. So this is Full Pull Live. These would be the opening ceremonies, right, Kenzie? I think we're looking for the American flag right now. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So that's good. So there's Steve Barker's truck that Kenzie just put up the screen. He's going to be our guest at 8 o'clock. So we're going to have the Batliners on first. But the Gold State Invitational truck and tractor pulling is very well alive in the state of California. Yes, diesel trucks as well, and diesel tractors. They had 7 super farms
Yes.
pulling Friday night, Saturday night, and we had 13 3.0 diesel trucks. The Jenny Light truck is now called the Pipe Dream, and it had it's brought by Brandon Smith, and he won Friday night and Saturday night. But the competition I've seen, Kenzie, from me going out my first year till now, and you've been out there now last 3 years.
Last 3, yeah.
That show that we saw Friday night and Saturday night in Madera, California with MLM Motorsports. You could take anywhere in the country and put it into an NTPA show or an Outlaw show or a PPL show, and nobody would be sad.
No.
Nobody would be disappointed. That was good stuff. They have 13 classes. They're entry-level classes out there. They have a work stock diesel truck class, which is like a 2.5 turbo or something like that. But those put on a good show. And then like their gas trucks, they have like a class called Country Modifieds. And that was another class out there that was pretty neat. I think Dan would know, 485 cubic inch. I don't know. Maybe somebody's watching that can let us know. But that's how all that goes down. And then we saw the big Jeremy Carrera with what do they call theirs? Get Her Done, the mod, the Get Her Done modified. He had over 425 feet on Friday night. So a lot of fun there. So we're going to start here in a little bit. We'll bring Logan on. We'll have him introduce his guest. Randy's going to be a few minutes late tonight. He had a what did he have? A town board meeting or something like that, Kenzie?
I have no idea.
I think Randy. Oh yeah, Logan would know. So let's bring Logan on. Anyway, shout out to the Massettis. What a show! It was a lot of fun. California is really awesome. Gas prices are high out there, but it was a lot of fun. Logan, I need you to unmute yourself there, buddy.
Hello.
What's going on, boss?
Oh, just another day in paradise. You know how we roll out here in Kansas.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how much of the United States is under this right now, but I was told by my good friend coming on here, Randy, that he's got some snow on the ground up there.
We have snow on the ground in Wisconsin. Yes.
Goodness, that's too early for me.
It definitely is. Well, we went from 75 degrees on an airplane in the morning to walking into Madison. So, and I want to talk about air travel real quick before we bring the Batliners on. Okay. So if a stewardess tells you to take your headphones off and listen so they can do the exit row thing, take your damn headphones off and do it. We watched on our flight from Fresno to Dallas, we watched a guy just keep his hood up, and the stewardess was actually going to remove him from the seat. Right? Yeah. And then when you fly, you're on an airplane, right? Yeah. I sat next to an absolutely mentally ill person with purple hair, and it was blue and green. It was blue and green. It looked purple to me. She actually yelled at the guy behind us because when he got up to get out of his seat, Logan, to go over and let his wife out to go to the bathroom, he kind of, he bumped her seat, right? You cannot not bump a seat, right? Yeah. Then I opened my Snapchat, and Kenzie's sister, Kelly, had sent me a video and singing me happy birthday, and I had accidentally had my sound on, and she looked at me and went like this. So after she yelled at that guy, I said, "Ma'am, you need to relax." And she told me at the top of her lungs, "You need to shut the F up." And I went, "Well, alrighty then." Because we were already in the air and I did not want to be greeted by the police when we landed. I just kind of said, "You need to go away." And so the stewardess came up and we chatted about it a little bit. I was super professional. I never swore once. Nope. Never swore once. And She goes, I want my own space, stay out of my space. And everybody's, I'm like, you're on an airplane. I go, you need to fly private then. You need to fly private then. But she was a very, very, very unhappy woman. And I feel sorry for anybody that she has to run into. My plan was to catch her outside of the airplane, when we got off. But man, she got off and she boogied because I wanted to have a chat with her about Jesus and everybody because I was going to. So I did talk to the gentleman that also she yelled at. And he was like, he was an older guy. And he was like, I've never been talked to like that in my whole life, especially on an airplane. So people, I know the world's not that crazy, is it?
Well, apparently it is.
I mean, if you're that unhappy, go somewhere else. I don't know. That was wild. So, Logan, have you flown a lot?
I haven't flown too much. I've been just in and out, mostly school-related stuff.
Yep.
Not outside of that, nothing really.
Yep.
Flown into D.C., flown into Atlanta. That's all I got. Needing to change that, I suppose. Broaden the horizons with some tractor pulling, but
we'll work on that, Logan, for you. But hey, Chris, how are you tonight? Yeah, well, and thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'm 50, and that's the first birthday. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting old, and everybody's picking on me. And we stayed up super late with our friends in California. And when you go to bed at 3:30, Logan, in California, it's actually 5:30 at your house in Wisconsin. So it was it was kind of fun. Yeah. But hung out with the Cal Poly kids, and it was a fun weekend, Logan. A fun weekend.
Looks like you guys had a blast out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're showing our live stream on Full Pull Live right now. That's the work stock diesel truck class. I think they start off with work stock on one track and the country mods.
No.
Light mods.
6,000 super stocks.
Yeah, they have 3 different gas truck classes out there. So, but I'm telling you, people, the California pulling scene is alive and it's good. And they're buying stuff from the east and they're taking it out west. And the guys that haven't upgraded in a while, well, they're finding out what it's all about. And then that nobody likes to be 20 or 30 feet back. So Chris says, I got 7 years on you. One more quick announcement. We're doing a feature week on Full Pull socials starting next Monday. Each week we're going to have a class and we're going to highlight it and talk about it. Everything about it that week's going to be about it. I know we're starting off with diesel super stocks, but we just announced that yesterday. So you can go scroll through the timeline and check all that out. So without further ado, we always like to know where you're watching from tonight. This is Let's Grow Pulling. If you're just jumping on, my name is Jason Schultz, Kenzie Teeting, Logan Stevens are our hosts, and then Randy Fishbaugh from Ohio will be jumping on a little bit as well. I know he's running late. We're going to start off with David and Joe Batliner they're from Kentucky, right, Logan? Or Indy?
Indy.
Dan Mayer said they live close to Dan Mayer.
Yeah. So. We'll let David answer that question because.
Logan, before we bring them on, if they're your guests, you should know where they're from.
I should.
Okay.
But
we're getting better though, right, Logan?
We're getting there. I also should have done a video interview with them out in Indianapolis, but we'll get there.
You're learning. You just started helping us last 6 months, probably? How long has it been, Logan, since we've been talking?
I don't know. We started talking about this around the time of the farm show last year, and then it was probably the end of the school year last year. So we're probably going on about 8 months or so.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. So Brenton Rogers says Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. Yeah. But Dan Mayer said that they're her neighbor because Dan asked us who we were having on tonight.
Oh, yeah, because that's where Dan.
Yep. And then Skylar Nebar has the Cheap Shot Reloaded super modified 2-wheel drive truck. Him and his wife Brittany own Live a Little Productions. They came down as well. So, but enough of that. Let's get it. Logan, let's bring on your guests.
Well, there's the highly esteemed and one and only Massey Ferguson Super Farm Pullers. How's it going, David and Joe?
Hey, good evening. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. I think Jason's a little jet lagged to stuff, but no, it's great seeing you guys. It was a pleasure seeing you out there at the FFA.
Logan, stop. Check out that setup. That's like the most professional backdrop I've ever seen on our podcast. Holy cow.
Hey, only the best. Only the best.
I love it. No, seriously. That is sharp, you guys. That is sharp. So, all right, Logan, I'll shut up. Back to you.
Okay. Yeah. Real quick, Kinsey or Jason, could you text Randy the link? Okay. Now that we got the business side taken care of, what a phenomenal vehicle you guys got there. Let's just kind of jump right into it. For those who don't know, we can definitely tell that you guys are big Massey Ferguson guys. What kind of started you down the route of a Massey Ferguson?
Well, I'm gonna let Joe answer that question because he's the one that kind of
Well,
got it a little bit started with us.
I guess the reason Massey Ferguson, my dad was tool maker and worked in Louisville, a job in Louisville. We're right across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, here in Indiana. And like a lot of guys in this area, they worked in Louisville and came home, had little small farms on this side of the river. And Dad was he would buy and sell tractors and trade them. And ever since I can remember, we always would have some old tractor in the garage, fixing it up and selling it, painting it and whatever. And eventually he became a Massey Ferguson dealer. So we grew up on Massey's, a lot of small Massey's here, everything like 165s and on down mostly. 135s were real popular. We had several of them growing up. But anyway, that's how we kind of got started on Massey's. And got started on an 1150 Massey pulling back in the early 90s, and fixed it up. And we still have two of those 1150s. We still occasionally get them out of the county fairs, and Lanesville Heritage Weekend was probably one of our first pulling events. We went with one of those, and that's how the disease started, I guess you might say. And we decided to build this super farm behind us here, and it's been a work in progress since about 2000 or the late 90s. I guess we actually started building, 97 maybe? Something like that.
And then actually debuted.
And first time on the track was 2000, and it's been a work in progress ever since.
So before we jump into the whole super farm and the big vehicle behind you, I saw some pictures of the shop. Can't remember where I saw them, but I remembered from a few months ago, I saw some pictures of your shop. If we can, turn that camera a little bit and show us just some of the other Masseys that are lined up against this back wall here. Look at those beauties. I know we probably don't have time to run down the whole line of them, but what's some of your favorites? Pick two or three out of those that are your favorites.
Oh, definitely the 1130 tricycle. It's getting real popular thanks to the auction. We have two 1150s. They're getting very popular thanks to the recent auctions. Those are probably our two favorites.
135.
We got that 135 that's been in the family. That's a big hitter. And then of course we got some 240s and
The 40 row crops are nice.
there's some different. We got some other stuff in here. Some older stuff I didn't show you. Everything in this building is has to run and be in perfect working condition. It may not be pretty, and still some of them are still in their work clothes, but it's kind of one of our hobbies. We collect and restore.
Yep. So those vehicles we just saw, you guys brought those in, restored those just kind of over the years?
Yes.
Yeah. All the ones you just saw down the road are restored in like new condition. I mean,
Okay.
top to bottom, inside and out.
So looking at this vehicle behind you, with the ag component of the super farm, what did the Massey start out as?
Well, let's see. There's several 1100 series. It started out mostly as I guess an 1155. The transmission was out of one donor vehicle. The axle tubes out of, I think, an 1100. Just it's several of them put together. That's what it originally started out as. And it originally had a 640 V8 in it. We ran that from 2000 to 2007, and then we decided to put the inline Sisu in it.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's still got some factory castings, and that's about it.
Yeah. So we saw this tractor over the past year get kind of a whole new facelift and the whole new sheet metal. How'd all that come about?
Well, that's a little bit of a story. There was a contest with AGCO Corporation a few years back for the Farm Progress Show. They took entries for the top 15 best restored vintage Massey Fergusons in the country. And they took out applications from all over the U.S. And I entered 4 of them just for the hell of it, and I ended up getting 3 of them taken in. And while we were out there, they were on display in a grain bin with a bunch of other vintage Massey's. And I got to meet some higher ups in the organization. I met some VPs and AGCO, and they were just kind of browsing around and asking them. One of the VPs asked me, he says, Davis, you know, is there anything we could do for you? Sometime you just let me know. And I looked at him and said, as a matter of fact, you can. I said, they had that brand new 8S series was sitting out there being introduced at that time. And I said, I would love to have that sheet metal on my pulling tractor. And he turned and looked at Adam, which worked for him. And he said, Adam, you're going to make that happen. And that was the start of that.
Yep. No, it's definitely beautiful. I know we talked a little bit. You guys have been piecing this thing together, working on it, building this program for ever since the early 2000s. Let's take a 1,000-foot flyby on how your whole season went this year.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be a short, long story. So I'm going to let Joe start with when we first went to the track.
Well, yeah, we didn't get to the track until weren't ready to go to the track until Brandenburg. Actually, we may have been a week or two before that, but we had a lot of work to do before we were ready to hook, and had everything to what we thought was the best setup possible, and went to the track at Brandenburg. And of course, that's pretty much our hometown Grand National here. It's only 40 miles from where we're sitting here, and we go down there, and Dave made his pass, and we made our best guess, and we ran the old tires, the old Fuller 2000s, because that's all we had at the time, and made our pass, and I guess we were actually last place the first night.
Yeah.
Weren't anything near what we wanted to be, and so we checked everything out the next day, and everything looked okay on the computer, and I got in a seat the next night, and I'll be quite honest about it, made a poor choice on the gear selection, a little bit too low, and got the motor higher up on the RPM. We got a little more heat in it than we wanted to, and long story short, I knocked all 6 cylinders dead in it, and so it was kind of a poor finish. Amazingly enough, we weren't dead last that night, but it wasn't very good. But it wasn't a very good run, and so it was a little bit of a long ride home, a short ride home, and didn't know what we were going to do for Bowling Green. You know, we didn't know how bad the damage was, but we thought we knew it was hurt pretty bad, and so we just kind of went home. And
Yeah, I was telling Joe, I'm done. That's it. He was pulling in the shop after Brandenburg Sunday morning, or well, you brought home Saturday night. And he was pulling in with a Kenworth, and the truck was kind of lunging and jumping. I thought, what the hell's the matter with Joe? That thing forgot how to drive. And I was giving him 9 kinds of heck, and he said, Dave, there's something wrong with the clutch. And that just put the icing on the cake, you know. So we pulled the stuff in the shop here, turned the key off. I threw my arms up, said, I'm done. I'm done. So we just left it at that. Joe said, well, we're going to tear it down. I said, no, we're not ready to tear it down. We're going to leave it set. I'm mad at it. So the week went by. Sunday night, I was out to dinner with my wife. And Betty asked me, she said, David, what's wrong with you? You ain't been right for a week. I said, man, I'm kind of heartbroken, really disappointed in myself. I said, I had a heart set on going to Bowling Green, and now I can't go. And she looked at me, she says, why not? I said, well, the motor's broke, Kenworth's broke, I'm cost a fortune to get the motor fixed, plus don't have enough time. My tires are wrong. And she goes, well, that never stopped you before. And I made a few more excuses, and she answered me again. Yeah, it ain't never stopped you before. And I said, it's almost going to be impossible to pull that off. And she looked at me and she said, well, you know, David, you're not getting any younger. If you're going to do it, you need to do it now. So I came home from dinner, and it was probably about 8:30 in the evening, called Joe up, said, Joe, I need to talk to you. Now, mind you, this is 10 days before Bowling Green.
yeah,
I said, Joe, we're going to Bowling Green. He looked at me and he said, David, you absolutely lost your mind. There is no possible way that can happen. And I said, well, it ain't going to be for lack of trying. I said, you get on the phone, you figure out if you can get some parts here. I got to get some tires. We got to get a truck fixed. We got a lot to do. So Joe got on the phone with Phil and Keith
Riverside, yeah.
and said, can you guys help us out? He says, we got all your stuff. We got all your drawings. He said on the pistons and sleeves. He said, we'll have them ready for you Friday. Well, that was Friday. So meanwhile, Brenton Rogers is one of our pit crew. He works for Apex Turbo, and he knows a lot of different people. And I said, Brenton, I don't know if I can go. I can't find tires. Because I'd been on the phone with all the tire dealers, all first part of the week. Couldn't turn up anything. And then Brenton went to work. He started calling some pullers. And I got phone calls from Jason Benzer, Plastic Money, offering to let me use his tires. Tony Seatsma, Ryan Anderson had a spare set. David, you can use my tires. And then it was getting later in the week. I think it was Saturday. It was Friday. Joe was on his way to go get engine parts.
Yeah, I was on my way home, man.
I called, Brenton calls me and says, David, I found a set of tires. He says, but you got to call him, man. His name's Joe Bush out in Boone, Iowa. Runs Fear the Deer. Had an extra set that would fit our backspacing. So lo and behold, I caught a hold of Joe. Had tires. By Saturday morning had located tires. Saturday morning, Joe had an engine parts. Sunday morning, I got in the car and went to Iowa. Now, mind you, we still don't have a Kenworth fixed. It's still sitting at the shop with a clutch in it. So I get home on Monday night. Joe had the motor back together, ready to start. And Monday night, we fired the motor and put the tires on because we didn't know if this thing would even fit in the trailer with these monster tires now they got. And that all happened on Monday night. So Tuesday morning, we still didn't have our Kenworth. And then we called them and said, guys, that thing's going to be done. We really need to have this truck. And they said, well, we run into a few problems and we're going to have to see about that. And it's Tuesday afternoon, 3:00, still didn't have it. Made a phone call. Well, they're close. Went down, seen them, and they said, we can do it. We got to work some overtime. You know what that meant, right? So about 6:30 Tuesday evening,
yeah.
we had a truck. About somewhere around 8:00, we loaded it on the trailer, and somewhere about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, we headed north to Bowling Green. So we made the hook. I made 2 hooks of Bowling Green, finished 2 12 places, which I thought was great amongst that crowd. 2 12 place finishes at Bowling Green. So yeah, that's our season in a short story.
Yeah, a long short story. So you talked a little bit of engine stuff there. Tell us. I haven't heard of this engine until you guys brought it up to me out there at National Convention. It was a Sisu.
Sisu, S-I-S-U.
Okay. What's that normally out of?
Well, Sisu originated in Finland, and AGCO, I believe, purchased them. I don't know the actual year. And then they rebranded it a bit to call it AGCO, Sisu AGCO Power. And then now I think they just call it just AGCO Power. But every AGCO,
large,
massive first, all the large displacement. I don't know what horsepower level they actually do it, but I know everything 100 horse over will probably have the Sisu in it, or AGCO power as I like to call it. That would be in the fence.
Challengers, 8S series, 9S series.
All your Massies, the big Massies, and the big AGCOs.
So it's current production.
And yeah, it has been for years. They started using them back in the 90s. I think the 8160s came out in 96, and they had a Sisu 7.4 in them. So yeah, they've been used for quite a while. They're a very good. Most of the guys, if you talk to the guys on that run the dealerships, they're very durable, very reliable engine, and they obviously hold up pretty well. They got a good, strong construction. The block's good and strong. Cranks are good. And they do well.
So looking at a super farm motor, you get your stock motor in. What all gets done to that motor before it gets shipped out and put into a super farm tractor?
You say as far as the stock Sisu, you mean? Stock 8.4? Well, our particular stock 8.4 is, of course, the stock block. And the crank is stock. It's offset ground for stroke. The engine has a long stroke just by design. The factory engine does. I forget the exact number.
5.7, 5.7.
5-inch, 700 something, 1,000 stroke factory.
Wow.
So they got a pretty good long stroke in them. Actually, it's 145 millimeters. I think that number, whatever, it comes out to 5.7, I think.
Whatever it is.
But so you start with that, but everything else, the pistons, the sleeves, we got a dry block, obviously. So there's nothing with a water jacket there, no water pump or anything. Big valves in the heads, a lot of flow work done on them. Of course, billet injectors, pump, turbo, just like everybody else. But basically, the only real stock pieces in there would be the crankshaft and the block. And the timing gears, the front timing case.
Yep. So I know we talked a little bit there at the convention. Any plans moving forward, staying with the super farm, or what's kind of your plans for next year and then the future on past that, staying in the class, moving up?
Now, right now, our plan is to stay in the class. I know there's a lot of controversy out there with the NTPA saying whether they're going to keep it or not. I think there's some issues there with the reasons they may or may not keep it. But right now, that's our current plan. Because to switch, we would have to, that's a whole nother level. I mean, we'd have to start over. I mean, people think just bolt the turbocharger on is going to get the job done. And that's not happening.
No, it would be a new engine program entirely.
So right now, that's our current plan. No big change. Let's see what this Grand National schedule looks like. If it looks like it's something we can do, we might be doing that.
Okay. Yeah. I know my dad asked this question after I got done with you. He goes, how fast can that thing plow a field?
First of all, I don't think it can plow a field.
No. So I was going back through all my stuff and it hit me. I've only seen one other AGCO vehicle, and it's right out of the home state that I call here home. Let's see how many people recognize this old girl. The Hurricane Alice 3 of Doman Farms out here in Kansas.
Yeah,
I know Jason probably knows that tractor, and I don't know if you guys have seen that. But Todd Doman, one of the brothers there, they live just a couple miles from the house here. But that's the only other AGCO that comes across my mind in the sport. I'm sure there's probably others. But it's definitely very good to see some diversity between you just get stuck in this rut with a whole bunch of John Deeres and cases. So it's definitely good to see some moving around in the classes.
I'm reasonably sure that we got the only Massey Ferguson in Super Farm in NTPA, and probably, I'm pretty sure the only CSU at the national level in the NTPA in any class.
Yep. So we see a couple pictures there from behind you, being at the National Farm Machinery Show. Did you guys send your stuff in for that this year?
Yes, we did. We'll see what happens.
Waiting for the magical big envelopes to come back in the mail.
Slim chance, but it's all a possibility. It depends on whether they want diversity or they want to. Well, we all know there's a reason they're doing Deeres and harvesters. It's about reliability and ease of parts. You don't see too many diverse pro stocks that don't have, but they got green motors in them and that's just the way it went for reliability and cost. But there's a few pioneers out there yet.
Yeah.
Ference Vague's jumping in, guys. He says, my favorite tractor of my teenage years, and Ference is old, so that was a long time ago. And they said Batliners 1150 at the county fairs. So that's cool to see him popping in. So
yeah, that thing was a tough bird in its day. That was back before the 3,000 RPM rule.
Yeah.
People didn't realize that, that was back when you didn't have an RPM limit in farm stock. So what happens when you put a big huffer on a V8, right?
Yeah. They glow and then they break crankshafts. So
I can tell you what happens. They create a 3,000 RPM rule.
Oh, shoot. Rob Trowbridge is checking in there. What did Rob say, Kenzie?
Nicest family.
One of the nicest family super farm. Yep. We always enjoyed pulling with the Batliner boys.
So you started down the diesel route. What would it take to, if you could be in any other class, what other class would you want to jump into?
I got to answer that question of what we thought about doing when I originally started.
Let's hear it.
It was a V8 alcohol, and Brian Connor was in my shop. That's been a lot of years ago.
Yes,
we were looking at building an alcohol V8.
in super stock.
Yep, in super stock.
Who has one? So
that
Chiswick still have a couple, right? And then Jeff Hurt, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And then Lustig is a pro stock now. Randy, are there any running around OSTPA, any V8 supers in your guys' class?
Just Jeff. He'd be the only one.
Yep.
Yep.
But that was my first
the
thought.
Crazy Canuck was a V8, right?
Yeah, V8 alcohol was my first thought.
Yep.
That would have definitely shaken up where you guys are today. So back to where this kind of all started. We saw you there with 3 of your vehicles at the FFA National Convention. How'd all that turn out for you guys? It was definitely good seeing a lot more of the Poland world getting into this organization.
Yeah, and I gotta say something about the FFA. First of all, we were invited to be at the FFA with AGCO. AGCO was doing some new and old theme. It's 50-year anniversary for Heston. They needed a 70s vintage tractor, something really nice, and they wanted something really new that would catch the eye. And, again, I got introduced to those folks and have done a couple events with those guys. We were at Atlanta earlier this year.
Yeah, we had
at
the
the
headquarters in Atlanta.
headquarters. We spent some, time down there with the tractors. We had several of them we took down there. But the FFA was, they're using that to draw, their group, to draw the crowd. And there's something I got to say about that. The group of kids that we were at that convention, guys, was simply amazing. I mean, how friendly and kind and yes, sir, and thank you. And I was just out of my mind with what I was saying. I called my wife, Betty, and I said, Betty, you're not going to believe this crowd. I said, they're the nicest kids I've ever met. Not a foul word throughout the whole weekend or the week that we were there. I guess it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's amazing about the FFA is the advisors. And I can't say enough about those advisors that are leading those kids. They stop by and, they're mentoring these guys and leading these groups. And hats off to those guys because they do a lot of work. They got a new group of kids, every year or so. And all I got to say to those folks is great job. I mean, keep up the excellent work. You got a great program going. It was quite an event.
That's awesome to hear. It was definitely very exciting seeing all you guys out there. And you guys always had a huge crowd surrounding the tractor. So that's good both for the FFA kids and for the Poland world. So it's super exciting. We didn't get to introduce Randy before the show got kicked off, but Randy, you got anything else?
No, that's good. It's interesting to sitting in there when I got to hear on it. That's exciting to see a different color. Jeremy's got the Challenger here in Ohio, in the pro stock world, but it's got a green motor in it. But other than that, that'd be the only other AGCO thing that I know that's pulling with us. But yeah, that's exciting that they're doing something different for sure.
How many different parent company or how many different companies does AGCO cover?
Ooh, I know Challenger,
There's Fent, and then the PTA, the seed company, or the planners. They're doing the PTA, and then they have the software group that they also have.
They've gotten huge.
They sold their grain bin side. They were selling grain bins there too. But off the top of my head, I'm not able to answer all that. But I can tell you it's quite a few.
Quite a few. It's definitely a lot of companies, a lot of red paint, orange paint, yellow paint.
Yeah,
they got to cover all the colors of the rainbow.
I got to put a plug in for AGCO because they're doing something different. I mean, their marketing strategy has changed, and on their big tractors, they're wanting to, as a supplier, they're one of the world's largest tractor manufacturers, right? John Deere is still North America primarily. Case IH has gotten more global, but from a total global footprint, AGCO's been at it a long time. And And their strategy, I don't know if you guys have seen some of their broadcast and marketing things. They're doing a 3,000 hour, 3-year, what I call bumper to bumper warranty with a guaranteed no downtime. You know, if the tractor goes down within 24 hours, they'll have it either fixed or a replacement tractor on your farm. And this is for their big horsepower tractors. You know, in the wake of another company that's had some challenging times, AGCO's stepping forward and saying, we're going to stand behind our stuff. And a matter of fact, if you have a problem, we're going to bring you a tractor, and you're not going to be down. And guys, think about it: 3,000 hour warranty, 3 years. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That is a lot, and that's their new marketing campaign as it just came out this month. So
well, that's a put your money where your mouth is. So.
I see Farmer Randy up there thinking. I know there's probably been a couple times where he's had a grain cart tractor go down or something, and he's been scratching his head.
Oh yeah, a time or two. They always tell me, they tell me, don't try a Fendt tractor until you're ready to buy one. So they claim that they're really good. So
yeah,
I know that's a pretty big push in our neighborhood right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, Joe got to drive one of those big monsters. Actually, it was the scene. AGCO had to drop the equipment, and guys, this is downtown Indy.
Yep.
On game day for the Indianapolis Colts. So we're at 8 o'clock in the morning driving this huge Fendt tractor and then this other giant 4-wheel drive tractor through the streets of downtown Indy, getting to the convention center because they couldn't drop them off into the convention center because it wasn't a place big enough. So it was quite amazing. You talk about turning some heads. I mean, because it was taking up 2 lanes in the street. It was an absolute blast.
Some of the tailgaters were kind of like,
what in the world?
That's awesome to hear. So, David, Joe, this has been a blast. Who would you like to thank? And let's kind of get this all wrapped up here. I appreciate this has been an awesome interview we've had here.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think, Betty, my wife, has been supportive of this whole endeavor. And my mom and dad, they created the disease that they gave us. And then especially, Joe here, he does. I mean, if you would have seen how much work he had done. Of course, he's retired now, but I think he's working harder now that he's retired, working on this tractor.
Not sure how that works.
But
not sure how the retired comes into that.
These guys that came together with us, Brenton Rogers at Apex Turbo, he's been on our crew several years back. We pulled him before he went to work when he was in high school. He spent some time with us and still is. Great helper. Chris Lewis, Richard Shirley, these guys work with us. My welder, my handyman helper, Odyssey Machine, Eric Kuiper, of course, Phil and Keith at Riverside, and Ryan and Pat up at Salamine Performance. Those guys have been awesome. I also need to mention, AGCO, they've been a great help. I mean, with helping us with the sheet metal and some other things. And then Temporal thermocouples. They got the fastest thermocouples in the U.S. I'm telling you, if you guys aren't running those, you need to be. Joe, they made a believer out of Joe, so that says something.
That says something.
They also notice it on the dyno too.
And you can see it. You can notice it on the dyno. You can talk to the dyno operators and saying, "Oh my gosh, talk about fast response." You're getting the real deal there. So.
That's awesome. Well, Randy, Jason,
Joe, thank you guys. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks for coming on tonight, guys. This is great.
This has been awesome. Once again, I appreciate it. Keep doing what you do. You're definitely doing a lot for the sport.
All right, guys. Appreciate the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. There you go, folks. Mr. David and Joe Batliner. Super Hick Super Farm tractor. What a beautiful looking tractor. It looks even better when you're standing right up there next to it. So they're definitely going to be a strong force to watch in this coming season. This next guy,
I've talked to Joe before. I don't know if I've talked to Dave before. I think I probably have over the years. I didn't get so I started doing a lot of stuff with Full Pole Live. I didn't get south a lot, but I know I've talked to them at the farm show and stuff like that. I like that you brought them in, Logan. I like the FFA tie-in. I didn't realize they were Massey dealers, but I did as soon as I saw their setup. That display, I'm like, these guys, this is sharp. That looks good. That looks
they
good.
definitely they put a lot of work and they truly care about the product that they're pushing
Yeah.
for. So
No, and that's awesome. And that is
what a great group.
Hey, Randy, that Sisu motor is that a 6 or is that an 8?
I'm not even
Sisu.
sure. I'm not sure. I think it's a 6.
Okay, I'm gonna bring them back on quick and ask them. Did you ask them Logan earlier and I wasn't paying attention?
I don't believe I did.
Okay, Dave. Yeah, sit back down. Is it a 6 or an 8, guys?
Inline 6.
Inline 6. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's based
All right.
on the 8.4 Sisu.
Oh, there's Brent.
There's Brenton. Okay, nice. All right, we'll kick you back off. Thank you. So no, that's curious there. You know, the Massey, obviously Carlton Cope Warpath. That whenever you post a video, that thing goes bonkers. But I love the fact that they're doing that with the Super Farm class and staying true. The people that don't like the components and the curtains matching the carpet and you hear all that stuff all the time.
The curtain mat. That's the first time I've heard that quote. The curtain.
Because you're a
mat.
good kid, Logan, and you don't hang out with me and learn all my bad habits. So it's all good. We got two great guests here tonight. So thank you to Dave and Joe Batliner for coming on and talk about their beautiful Massey Ferguson. We're going to go to Ohio now. Steve Barker and blown 4-wheel drive trucks. We've seen them a little bit with TNT, the long wheelbase, but we've seen the really high horsepower ones with OSTPA. And I got to talk to Steve Barker earlier this year at an OSTP event when we were out there at Full Pull Live. Randy brought him on the night. But just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you a video of his truck from Randolph, Ohio. This is video from Full Pull Live, and then we're going to bring Steve on.
Here comes Steve Barker, our leadoff test truck, live wire. Yeah, what a run. Man, was he booking it. Good run for Barker, live wire.
You want me to bring Steve? I can bring Steve
Yeah,
on?
just bring
You
Steve
trust
on.
me?
I do.
I thought you were running the show tonight.
Well, you've taken over.
I just wanted to show a video. Why are you doing this right on a live podcast, Kenzie? Steve, how are you, sir?
He's got to unmute his own mic.
Steve will do it. We believe in him. Push the button, Steve. I need you to unmute yourself, buddy.
We want to hear you.
Scuba
This
Steve.
guy works on truck. He builds chassis, and he's a heck of a driver. But
He's a heck of an engine builder too.
yeah, he is. I just want to be able to talk to him. You got to unmute yourself, Steve. Whatever we did earlier. Sorry, buddy. He's like, I hate technology.
Oh,
How about now?
Hey, Steve Barker, everybody. Hey, we got new sound effects, everybody. Listen, I got it, Kenzie. Listen.
got it.
Better,
Steve Barker, everybody.
better
Steve Barker. Good live wire. Steve, how are you, buddy? How are you, Steve?
I'm good.
I love super modified 4-wheel drive trucks. They are so cool, and I want you to tell us about them. So go, Randy. This is your guest. You know Steve better than the rest of us.
Oh, I just want to congratulate you on your points championship, and then Scuba won the end of the year with the first year for the finale in Ohio. So the live wire was definitely on a rail this year for sure, and it was fun to be with him this summer. So how many points championships is that, Scuba?
This is our third one. A
Yep.
bunch of seconds, bunch of thirds, but this is our third points one.
Got it. Absolutely. It was a lot of fun to see you out there every night with us for sure. But yeah, tell us about when you got started, and you've been at this for creeping up on 30 years, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe more. I think I made my first pass in around 84, 85. So every year since then, we've been doing something. So yeah, long time. 89, I think, is when Ohio started with the blower trucks. And then we started pretty hard in 92. Us and Dave Pierce, same year we started in 92.
Dave's got the Stormer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Him
Stormer.
and his son promote. Mount
Gilead.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
Morrow County Fair.
Yep. And you build a lot of the chassis for the blown 4-wheel drives in Ohio too, right?
We've done a bunch of them. Probably, I think we're probably better than 50 trucks we've built now, like nationwide, and got a lot of them in our class.
For sure.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah, and you got you used to have you were Chevy powered right up until just a few years ago, right? And then you switched over to Atom Power.
Yeah, we've got a Minor Brothers in there now. I think we just pushed the Chevy stuff as hard as we could, and it was just time to make a change.
Yep. Yeah.
Talking a Chevy guy there. Long time ago, many days ago, that good old dad picked up a motor. It came out of Steve's shop there. It's currently the top motor on our triple engine there, but it came from Petro's out there, and we probably had that motor for 15 years, but that old sucker's still kicking. So a testament to your guys' engine shop out there. You guys definitely know how to build good power in the Chevy platforms.
Yeah, we worked at that for a long time. We had pretty good success with it, but we were kind of at the point where a lot of my Chevy stuff was getting wore out, and it was either replace it all or step up to something else. And we made that move to that Minor, and it was a good move. That's a really good platform.
You definitely learn that the Hemi and Arius-based platforms are easier to work on than the Chevys.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that one you can get the heads off of it without even taking the blower or manifold off. We hope we don't have to do that very much, but if you need to, you can do it. And,
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and then guys we run with, Kenny Lucas, Carl Odell, Petros are close. So I knew they ran a lot of that stuff, and if we need parts, them guys are good enough to help me out. I mean, we had a broken crank last spring I didn't know about, and Kenny had a couple up there that they had really got in for their 2-wheel drive. Didn't run it much this year, so I was able to steal one of his cranks till we could replace it. So worked out.
Yeah.
Very good.
So how did you and Randy meet? And then I'll let Randy run the rest of this interview, but just along your travels, where did you guys cross paths?
Definitely at Ohio State pulling. I don't know how many years Randy's been just tirelessly working with our organization. He brings a bunch to it. They just so I don't even know, what year was it, Randy, how long have you been with Ohio State? I don't remember.
We were the promoters up there at Norwalk for about 26, 27, 28 years, something like that. We did that, and then I don't even know, we just decided to go pulling, and then Susie and I just kept going, and then I don't know how you really can really say where anybody ever really like nail it right down to where we met, just going pulling, I guess. So, yeah. And we've always had the blower trucks when we were in Norwalk, and for Logan, he understands a long drive, but Steve and Kelly, they got a 4.5 or 5 hour drive every night. They're clear down at the bottom end of the state. So those guys drive a lot for Ohio for sure. They've them guys, he and Kenny, they drive the most of anybody probably. So I would guess.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun together over all the years for sure. And like I say, you guys have been with, how long's Kenny and Carl been at this? They not quite as long as you and Pierce, but they've been at it quite a while, right?
Yeah, I think we started in 92, and I want to say Kenny and Carl got going, could be wrong here, but about 96 or 7 maybe.
Yeah.
They've been at it a long time too.
Yeah, and you built the Fantasy truck as well.
Fantasy and Dirt Donkey, yep.
Yep.
These are our chassis.
Yeah, got it. Understood. Yeah.
Didn't you end up behind the wheel of one of those at one point in time, Randy?
Well, I've been behind the wheel of everybody's truck getting towed to the pits. I've even set in the live wire a time or two, but not doing anything. But yeah, Kenny and Carl let me drive the donkey a few years back when they were working on the 2-wheeler. So yeah, it's. I always told Dawn that I didn't want to ever go pulling until I was scared to back up, and those guys always told me just to go do it. So I did. Wellington, Ohio was my first event driving the donkey. So, but backing
That's
up,
the ironic part about pulling is backing up's harder than the going straight down the track most of the time.
yeah, like Steve's truck and the donkey, they pop a pretty big wheelie when you put them in reverse. So, not near as bad as the Fantasy, but they that thing stands right up just about, I think. So, for sure, that's it's a lot of fun for sure going with you guys. But what where's your where's that God Almighty event that you've always wanted to win at, Scuba, and you could never quite pull it off? Or but I know you've been out there a lot of years. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe you've won everywhere. But is there one place you've always wanted to win?
You know, I think we've checked most of them off. You know, if you just go enough years, eventually you're going to get lucky and hit them all. I mean, we've been back when we did Bowling Green, our class, we've won that a couple times. Ohio State Fair, we've won Toma a couple times. Man, I have to go back here a few years. And I think all the big ones in Ohio, we've probably won at least once. And he showed a video of Randolph there. For some reason, we do really good there. We've won Randolph a bunch. I think we just do good on that track. But yeah,
Sorry.
It's all right.
How many blower trucks are out there in Ohio, and how many are still left across the United States?
Not like there used to be. I mean, we probably, if everybody showed up, what do you think, Randy? We probably 12 of us.
I would say so. I think we had a 9 average for the year. So I'd say there's probably 12 or 13. I'd say Steve's real close on that number of what's left here in Ohio.
Yeah,
for sure.
When we started, we would average about 21, 22 trucks a night.
Absolutely.
And, man, we had a bunch of them. And then there were a lot of them down south. Steve Foster, who does 2-wheel drives now with his son, Steve and Larry Douth, that used to come up and run with us. Randy McConnell would come up and run with us. And then we would go down there, run. At one time, Lexington, Alabama was a Grand National pool, and they had our class there. Been down there several times. And Hazel Green, Alabama, going back a long time. We pulled there. So yeah, but they've thinned out. I mean, a lot of the trucks down south that used to be short, some of the guys have stretched them out, run that TNT or KTPA now. So yeah, the class down Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, they sort of got in a little bit of a riff, and they divided up, and then it really kind of killed their class, killed their numbers. So Ohio is about the only real strong supermod state left.
And those guys down south, they stretched them out a lot longer wheelbase than the live wire, right, Steve?
Yeah, the supermods down there are 170 inches. We're 133. Our stuff's basically the same chassis as a modified 4-wheel drive.
Right.
Just really the motor is a big difference. And most of our guys run automatics instead of a clutch.
I know a couple guys said a couple things. We'll get to that in a second. Let's catch up on a couple of these comments. How'd you do at the Enderley back when they had your class?
We've won the Enderley twice. I don't remember how many times we pulled there, but I've got 2 old yellow-looking checks hanging up on my wall out there in the shop. It's been there a long time. So yeah, we've won that one twice.
How about the first reverse wheelie in your class? We see that's become not necessarily a big thing, but a popular thing out there. When did that first start coming about?
Man, I don't know. I guess when, guys really started getting their trucks built light, and, if you got your idle set up high and you kind of, pop it in reverse, they're light enough, they stand right up. So yeah, I mean, it's funny how big of a deal. You see a lot of videos of us backing up. Many of us, many videos of us backing up as there is going forward out there.
Yeah. For sure.
I think I saw an interview, It was probably 5 years ago, but it was with Shane Kellogg in the Trump truck where he was just picking it up by the wheelie bars and moving it around. How heavy are those on the back end?
The diesel trucks are quite a bit heavier. I mean, they've got some light ones now. I mean, they've come a long way with getting their chassis lightened up and bodies and stuff. But those trucks are still quite a bit heavier than we are in the back, just the length of them and stuff. The leverage factor of being short 60 inches out and being long 60 inches out on the box. So our class is probably definitely about the lightest. I mean, on the back being 6,500 pounds, makes a big difference too.
Yeah, you can pick them up, Logan, like the live wire in the fantasy. You could pick them up and just scoot them right, pick the back tires right off the ground and just move them left or right without any trouble at all. For sure. Yeah, we had a few weeks ago, we had Kellogg on here, and remember he told us that's where he learned to drive, watching the blown four-wheel drives in Ohio, didn't he? So, and even Van said that when they all pulled together. So
yeah,
that was for sure.
Yeah, we actually one of the first trucks that Shane had, the Gotta Have It truck, we built that chassis out here. And he did a lot of whipping with that truck here in Ohio when he ran that. He had good success. He's probably sold us a lot of diesel chassis with that truck, him and Eric Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What was your most memorable win this year, Scuba?
Really probably the Coshocton win, there at the end, that top 5 deal to top it off.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of like a real explanation mark on the season. Just good to win it. Kelly and I mean, it was just her and I this all summer. She's been my crew chief really the last 2 summers. I've drug her all over the state, for years now anyway, but we make a good team.
Yep, absolutely.
Morgan Schultz just sent me this on Facebook. Look at these 4-wheel drive trucks.
It's Morgan Schulte, Logan.
Is it Schulte?
Yep. They have the Binder Express Super Farm. So
it's one or the other.
It is. I know them well.
Me.
I know. I'm just correcting you. It's all good. So he also sent me, Steve, a video from Toma Kent Franks from 2010. Yeah. Is that one of your buddies?
Yeah, Kent and I we went to school together, and we built the first live wire together, and then we used to alternate drive, and he was a big part of our team. And Kent passed away. He was a couple years younger than me, and he passed away suddenly in July of 2017 with a heart attack.
Morgan said that's 2010 from NTPA.TV. So
yeah, Kent was a heck of a driver too. Brings back a lot of good memories there, Kent. That was a tough year when he passed away.
I bet. That sucks. Here's a video of your run at Toma. I think Kent was in the seat. I'm gonna play this quick, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a little sampling of them, and here is Kent Franks. He's out of Owensville, Ohio, with a live wire. It's a 1957 Chevy with a supercharged engine.
Kent has been competing for 15 seasons, and he is a teammate of Steve Barker, who actually owns this truck. Barker makes chassis for many of these competitors, and Franks and Barker won a previous Grand National Championship a few years ago.
As a strong truck to be our test puller here in Toma, Wisconsin.
Nice straight pass there, Greg.
Steve, I told you, I interviewed you at Randy's poll. That class is awesome. Why is it not? Where did it go? Like, what happened? Like, did it the carburetor take over? Because I want to know. I don't care if you piss somebody off. I want to know.
I was going to ask you if you wanted the kind answer.
No, this is a podcast where we try to educate fans. I want the truth. I don't care.
Right.
If somebody doesn't like it, they can call me and yell at me. So.
Here's how it went down when Ohio split and went with Pro Pulling League or Lucas Oil deal, whatever it was back then. and we kind of split off of NTPA. And at that time, NTPA had most all the pools in Ohio were like the ones that weren't Grand Nationals were regionals.
Okay.
So when we split, some NTPA higher ups kind of came to our class individually and asked if they would keep our class on. If basically a lot of the counties wanted the Supermod 4-wheel drives. So, we went this Lucas Oil deal. They wanted to kind of keep promise these fairs that they would get the 4-wheel drives if they would go to an NTPA region hook. And our class sort of stood together and said, no, we wouldn't pull the region stuff. So we were actually on the schedule that year that happened for Bowling Green. And when we all sort of said, no, we're sticking with our Ohio stuff. And then they pulled our class out. So it was a way to punish us. They couldn't punish any other classes. You couldn't get rid of the 2-wheelers. You can't get rid of the super stocks, the mods, but they could get rid of us. And that's, it's just kind of like you guys ain't going to go and stand with, run the region stuff. We're pulling you out of Bowling Green. So that's really how it happened. I think we're still maybe in their book as a class, but we're just, ever since the split, they just sort of punished us, took us out, which is fine.
No, kudos to you guys for sticking together, because if you would have broke apart, you would have ruined the class, because then you would have had 4 or 5 at each group, and then the promoters, after a year or two, they quit booking you, and then it's gone. So at least
exactly.
You guys
and I mean, the NTPA region stuff was going to pay less than our Lucas Oil Ohio State pool. So,
yep.
And this is just the truth, whether it makes people mad or not. I think it was 2007 we won the NTPA Grand National points, and I got more into the year money to finish 3rd in Ohio than I did to win the Grand National points in NTPA. So
no, that stuff needs to be said.
Is what it is.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie. So I know when Lucas Oil had it, there was some big money chasing it. I mean, we've seen pullers go after the money on the Champions Tour and go back and forth between the 2 big circuits. And that's why we have podcasts, Steve, because these stories have never been told before. And
I mean,
it's not like you're demeaning anybody. You're just stating the facts.
Yeah, it's not it's not all about the money, but stuff's expensive. And Lucas, when he got into our deal, we went from NTPA would put $6,500 in our end of the year points fund, and the entry fee was much more to buy their insurance. And the first year Lucas come in, he was putting $80,000 in our Ohio State end of the year points fund. So It's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, that's a bunch of money. That's real money. That's way above what you paid in too. Like, I always giggle when I hear somebody say, "Oh, we got so and so much back from so and so," and I'm like, "Yeah, but did you do the math on how much you paid in?" But 80. There's no way you guys paid in 80,000.
No. They were. Forrest Lucas at this time, he really liked pulling, and he wanted to help the pullers, and he felt like it was a good venue to get their product's name out there, and he liked it. And he put money into it.
Yep. No, agreed. 100%. No, I love the story. Thank you for that. And nobody's going to get mad about that. And who cares if they do? So, that's just what it was. I'm just telling, reporting the news, I guess. Nothing wrong with that. Steve, what other classes do you really, just as a pulling fan, that you leave the trailer to go watch at the track with OSTPA, or if you go to a different event? I know you're super busy with OSTPA running points.
The mod tractors, the light mods, we do a lot of machine work, cylinder heads for Wayne, Donnie Sullivan, Tim Beatty, and them guys. They're a little south of us. So Wayne's always up here at the shop. So he had a great year this year, and man, I love to see that. So like to go watch Wayne in that light mod class. I think that's a awesome class.
It is. And then I spent the weekend out in California with Donnie and Brant out there.
We watched it this weekend. That was good.
Yeah, we got it playing right now.
Yeah.
and then Robbie Fagundas is going to come on in a minute or two once we kick you off, Steve. So it's all good. So, how many hooks did you guys have this year for points, Steve?
I think we had 20. 22 scheduled.
Okay.
Or actually maybe 24 because we had 4 rainouts, I think.
Okay.
We ended up having 20 hooks and
20.
4 rainouts.
Yep.
Randy, their class has to be one of the most requested by promoters, correct? I would assume.
Absolutely, yeah. The blown 4-wheel drives has been a staple to the Ohio State organization for way before me, before me being on the board. But yeah, they've definitely been a staple. A lot of people want them, that's for sure.
Chris,
So,
what number of hooks in a season is too much for you and your teammate, or your classmates? Where do you guys? Because I know, like when I was really involved with Badger State and I was on the board, the pullers would have their meeting and say, we don't want 16 hooks this year, we want 20, and then Greg would go try to build a schedule off of that. Which, if you want to be hated ever, I always said local politics were the worst. Be the president of your local association.
Yeah.
Talk about trying to. That's a no-winner, but. Where do you guys like to be, Chris, for a number of hooks in the season? Did I lose him? Is that me?
no,
You said Chris?
Yeah,
You're talking to Chris, not Steve.
I was reading Chris's name on thing. Steve.
yeah.
Where do you like to be for a number of hooks? Chris Kilbarger is one of our big fans. He
Okay.
watches all the podcasts. I meant Steve. Where's as a class? Where do you guys like to be for a number of hooks in the season?
I think right now, as long as we've been doing it in that 20, 22, 23 range is plenty for me anymore. When we started in the 92 era, 93, of course, there was only one organization, so NTPA had them all.
Yeah.
And I think some years we had over 40 hooks in Ohio in one season.
Wow.
We would leave here, and of course, I was not married, no kids at the time. We would stay in northern Ohio for a couple weeks at a time in August because we had, State Fair, Bowling Green. It was nuts. I can't even imagine doing that now.
Yeah, for sure.
One last question for you, and it's Chris's. Who is your pulling hero, or who did you look up to growing up? You might have mentioned Wayne Sullivan, maybe that's it, but who are some of your mentors, or who's some of the people that made you who you are today, Steve?
There's a lot of them, but I got to stick with our class. I mean, John Bowden, when we started, he had that original Studley Studebaker.
Yeah.
And man, he was the king. He would, you just really went to hope you would get second because you weren't going to get first. John won everything. I mean, he was so tough to beat. We had pull-offs every night in those days. And, John he was notorious for maybe barely getting it out the end. And then in the pull-off, he would just put 20 foot on you and let out the throttle. It was humiliating. But he definitely made our whole class better. No doubt about it.
That's awesome.
He was the man.
Before we let you go here, Steve, I've got to ask you from a promoter's perspective. We were talking earlier, the class you'd come from the trailer to watch. This has been the only truck class outside of the Supermod two-wheelers that I'd come up to the track to watch. So what would it take to grow this class back to where it was in the heyday running the Grand National? What would you need from both competitors and promoters?
I think the interest is there. It would probably take a few years to get it going. I mean, if you offered some national hooks for it, I think once you had some events, guys would start filling it up. I mean, we've seen class numbers go up and down. I mean, it wasn't too long ago, the minis were pretty low in numbers, and now they're just
they've exploded.
Yeah, they've exploded. So, I mean, I would think there'd be some probably modified four-wheel drive truck guys that would maybe make that jump. I don't know. We'd like to see it. I mean, I love the class. I think it's, to me, I mean, I like the blower stuff. They're faster, louder.
I'd like to, before my pulling career is done, is hop in one of those because that just looks like a fun class to be a part of.
It is. It's fun to watch. I didn't see it, Logan, until this year with Full Pull Live, and we got to go out and do some OSTPA stuff, and I love it. I love it. It's fun. But I see a lot of the four-wheel drive mods all summer long on NTPA Grand National.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with them. But a blower sticking out of the hood, screaming like that, it's just neater. I don't care. They're cool.
Yeah, it's a difference between like a pro stock car and a pro mod car. You know, the pro mod cars, people come out to watch them because they're, you know, just the horsepower and the noise and the speed.
Yep.
Yeah, the single engine mods are cool, but there's nothing like 4 or 5 Hemis strapped to one. So it's kind of the same deal with this. But
yeah, that's definitely what hooked me when Dad would drag me around to tractor pulls when I was young and seeing the tractors, you know, when I was little. I think that's really what got me hooked.
That's awesome to hear. Randy, what do you got? Anything else?
We gotta let Steve go. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I just want to tell you congratulations on your points championship, Scuba, and thanks for coming on and talking with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Well, hey, real quick, the scuba thing. You always call him Scuba. Where's that come from, Fishball?
That comes from Dawn Odell with the fantasy and the dirt donkey. That's what she always called him, and I just picked up on it. And Scuba Steve, that's what we call him.
I think it came from a movie. Man,
I don't even know.
Yeah, it came from a movie, and there was a guy in there named Scuba Steve.
Yep.
That was an Adam Sandler movie, wasn't it?
It was an Adam Sandler movie, and it got, I don't know if Don started it. There was another guy down here that kind of called me that, local fella, and then she heard it, and it stuck. So I got stuck.
You never know. You got to be careful when you ask Randy where it comes up with his nicknames, because it could be a sober story or we stayed up too late kind of a story with Randy.
Yeah, you never know.
It's really not Randy.
Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank
the Let's Grow Pulling Team, we're going to make 4-wheel drive blower trucks popular again all over the country, okay?
All right. We'll see you this summer. Randy, I'll see you at the banquet.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thanks, Steve. Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
Steve.
Tell Kelly we said hello.
Will do.
So he's coming to the banquet, he says. Randy, that's coming up here, I suppose.
No, that would be our banquet.
Oh, doggone.
Yep.
You know, Logan, there's other banquets other than this weekend, just so you know.
I know. I get excited.
I'm excited for this banquet. I want to finally find out what all the rumors are going to be about with pro pulling.
Boy, I'm telling you, I'm going to take a notebook this weekend. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
No, it is. If social media should be fired up after this weekend. So
yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
I love it. So there is
further ado,
right there, the live wire. I'm telling you guys, those blown 4-wheel drives are cool. I don't care who you are, what you say, and I'm glad that you lined him up tonight, Randy. Thank you.
Yeah, those things are a lot of fun. It's just something to start them up, you know, and just I'd say that rear wheelie, that's something too, you know, for sure.
They're definitely mean vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So, Randy, if I say to you, California truck and tractor pulling, what's the first thing you say? Think in your mind.
How much is the ticket to get there?
Okay.
That's the first thing I think of.
Logan, if I say California truck and tractor pulling, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And be honest.
If you say California truck and tractor pulling, it's those California mini guys, the good old Fagundes.
No, you're just kissing ass because that's our next guest.
No, I'm not. Brant Sullivan and Robbie Fagundas. I got to talk to those boys when they were out here. Got to talk to Robbie when they were out here at Hillsboro. And I'm not just kissing them. But that's what comes to mind out there.
No, they're legit. So
I just want to go out there. That's what I say. I want to get there.
You need to go, and we'll get into that. We're going to go for a while with Robbie. So if you have to take a leak, Randy, go now.
I'm good.
So I got to meet Robbie through Wyatt Borth, who everybody knows Doug, who I work with on Full Pull.
Yeah.
His son Wyatt drove one of Robbie's mini rods a little bit when he left him up here this summer. Because these guys just came out of California, I think in late 2000s. I'll let him tell it better, but they won a couple Grand National hooks right out of the gate with them. And all of a sudden, who are these California mini rod guys? And then Robbie one night showed up to my house during the podcast, and I have a Fagundes Motorsports crew shirt, and I should have wore it tonight. But it's made out of that old crappy crew shirt material, guys, and it itches like holy hell. So I won't wear it too long. But the California pulling scene is legit. It is legit. I went out to this Gold State Invitational 4 years ago, and it was good. It was good. But to see the level of vehicles come up, you guys, over the last 3 or 4 years now, the 3.0 diesel trucks in this modified class, and they're running the Outlaw ITPA rules, which is a 7,400 pound. And that's Jesselyn. That's Brant Sullivan's future wife. They have 3 beautiful babies together. And Brant moved out there, and Jesselyn is Robbie's daughter. And it's so fun, you guys. I had such a good time this past weekend. It was nice, though, Randy. Logan, we went out a day early. We went out Wednesday. And then Thursday, we went to Pebble Beach and checked out California. And it's not I always say this, but it's not the California you see on the news. It's not all the crazy people in LA and San Francisco. Fagundas is just like us.
Airplane ride, so I wouldn't go that far.
Well, that lady, she was on the trip from Dallas to Madison, and she had green and blue hair. So I don't care. We used to make fun of people like that, so it's all good.
Perfect. What? Do they have blown minis out there?
Well, they did, and I'll let Robbie. I don't want to steal everything from Robbie, but
no.
Whenever there's a debut of a new tractor, the internet gets excited. You right, guys? They get pumped up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Robbie built himself a brand new modified with the twins on it, and it runs. Friday night he was on a pass, built his own chassis. I'll let him talk about all that. He sent me some pictures and video, and Kenzie kind of put a loop video together for us. So let's bring on Robbie, guys, and let's say hi to Robbie. Hi, Robbie.
How's it going?
How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on Let's Grow Pulling tonight. We appreciate it. Randy Fishbaw's in the upper right corner. You know Logan there in the middle. And, of course, you're stuck with me. But your tractor, this new build, it's sweet. It ran good. You got to be happy with your first weekend out, boss.
Oh, yeah. I was real happy. It was a lot of fun to build, but, it was surprising, too, the ride I got out of it. I was a little satisfied with it as far as, there's nothing like a mini. Yeah. So, but it was close. It was damn close.
So from full pull, I'm going to show you your runs, and then we'll go back, and then we'll start talking to Robbie a little bit. So thanks again for coming on, Robbie. Robbie's 2 hours behind me, so it's 6:41 at his house. Yeah. Randy's 9:41. So the time change when you travel to California and back, it messes with you a little bit. I will own that. So here's Friday night's run from Full Pull Live.
400-pound modified class, the Central California Minis. You see it on there, the modified edition. Beautiful looking tractor here. Robbie Fagundas. As we have got 7 of these mods to run tonight. So home built chassis, parts and pieces from Modern Machine. Here we go, our test puller, the Californian.
Robbie, at that point, how are you thinking about life right now, about half track? How are you feeling?
Well, the rear end didn't break off the line, which I kind of had some issues with that thing. I knew I was heavy on the front end, so I got to drive it hard, and I didn't have to worry about keeping it in bounds. So I figured the front end would be glued. And at that point, I was like, hey, this sled, I got it on my back. It's not going to stop me. And then motor went away slightly after I said that to myself in my head. Yep. And actually, Donnie Sullivan came up to me before. He said, now, Brian's going to load that sled up pretty good. And I know it's only a few seconds, but you think a lot of things in a few seconds. And I was thinking, shit, this sled ain't loaded. He made a mistake. I was rolling.
Oh, I love it. And then here's, after your pass here, some of the
400-pound modified class.
Wrong one.
And right.
Oh, there it is. That's one.
And right out the end. Yeah, 340 and 24, and it's raining dirt. So 340 to get us.
Bit of money sitting on the ground right there.
So what did happen, Robbie? We saw a lot of fluids on the ground. But
the motors were fresh, but they were out of the Mini last year when I went to Hillsboro, and I had that fuel tank, fuel filter problem. Leaned out a motor, torched a head. Well, we torched number 7 hole, so that motor came home. The next night we went out, or we got rained out the next night. We turned all night to get the motor in. We had help from Don there. He was running the loader for us. We didn't have our own cherry picker, so he ran the loader for us. We kept him up longer than we should have, but he stayed and helped us switch motors that night. the next morning we finished it, and then we get to the staging lane, still putting it together. And somewhere ironic way, I got the wrong cam shipped to me from Boyd's, so it didn't have the swap in the cam. So we figured that out after it banged, and that was a little delayed us to the staging lane. So we figured that out, got everything done, got to the staging lanes, and then it poured rain. So I wasn't back in my mind to pull that fuel filter out and put a hose. I had everything to do it, just didn't do it. Went to Bowling Green from there, ran the first night, and then banged the blower. And then that motor, we went through it the next day. Everything looked good. Found that the fuel filter was plugged again from the sand that, basically what they sandblast the tanks with. Got in there somewhere or another. I couldn't get all of it out. I flushed the tanks the second night. But we hurt the motor again. That one, we got home and the rods were bent. So we put a new rack of rods in that. And then when Brant went to put the second motor together, he asked me, you want to put a new rack in this, the front six, it's up to you. And I said, nah, I said, just get the two. I had one run on both motors. So I said, nah, let's just make something happen between the two. So it was kind of my call to cut a corner. And as you guys know, in this sport, you can't do that. It'll show itself every time on the track. So I cut a corner, and I haven't looked at the motor yet, but I imagine that's probably what happened. Is we probably hurt a rod that got a little heat prior runs, and we didn't just put a new rack in it. So, but, either that or we might have had an oiling problem, and that was one thing I didn't have time because we were switching motors again in Madera. So I didn't have time to look at the computer. I know Donnie came up and was like, you better look at that computer. What if you have a tank problem but I changed the motor, the oil pump, everything involved with it, cleaned the tank. I just didn't foresee a problem in the tank. So we just went ahead and ran it the second night, and it ran fine. So I imagine the first night it was either fatigue rods or maybe the oil pump went away, or I'm not sure. I'm going to try to pull up the data later on and look at it. But
yeah, here's your Saturday night pass. So you were rolling. It was awesome. Good to see you. I was happy for you because of the brand new debut like that, the brand new big machine. You got to be excited. So, all right, you sent me a bunch of pictures. We're going to kind of go through your build. I'll just kind of flip through them if you don't mind, Robbie. So what are we staring at here, boss?
So what happened here is, 3 years ago, AJ Freitas and his dad run a twin engine mod. He runs a 4-wheel drive. And his dad bought miners, and I had got rid of my miners, and I had some rocker stuff and some parts. And so we just horse traded, and AJ agreed he'd help me build it. So we were just building it to sell. And he traded me the rails and a rear end. And I bought a modern front end and put it on there. And I didn't go with the plate. I went with the tube because we were building it to sell. If I had to do it over, I'd probably went with his plate. He has a different style for the front end, just a flat plate, which is a little better, I guess. I would have did that if I was known I wasn't going to sell it. The rear end ended up not being what I wanted, so I ended up calling Bob Barbie for that. He sent me out a rear end, and then now we took kind of pride in it. And AJ, we laid it out. AJ lives about an hour from me, so I'd lay out some things and go home, and then he'd stay up through the night. We both had day jobs. He'd stay up and weld things out, and I'd show up pretty much the next day and just ask him if that's all he got done. I kind of ride him pretty hard, so we had a good time building it, but he did most of it. And we bounced ideas off each other and came up with what we came up with. And it really wasn't a lot of time between both of us, but when you start something like this, it was, you call modern, you call the big builders, and you ask them how much they want for a chassis, and you're like, man, I can build one for that or this and that. It might be a little pricey, but when you're done with it and you build one like this and someone asks you, what would you sell it for? Modern's cheaper. So, because you do get a lot of time and a lot of money in them. It's just that fast.
This is a cool picture here. I like this. Kind of setting the blocks in and looking it over. That's neat. Again, Robbie Fagundas, everybody with us. You got any questions? You saw his new debut the Californian modified tractor out in California this past weekend on Full Pull Live. If you weren't there in person, I got to see it in person. It is a beaut. It is a beaut. So love it. So Robbie, I'm just going to flip through these. If you want me to zoom through any of them or make them bigger, just let me know. You can talk. I'll stop. So
that was actually, we're dropping off at Powder Coat. We didn't have, we didn't have motor set yet, but we had tabs for transmission where we thought it would lie. We were lacking drive lines. So we really, when I ordered this thing, I remember it was 39 weeks before Bowling Green when I called to place the order for some running gear and some stuff. And, the question was, if I order it now, how long will it take? And it was 18 to 20 weeks. And figured, okay, we could pick everything at Bowling Green and save us some shipping. That obviously didn't happen. I don't know what happened, but we didn't save a dime by picking anything up in Bowling Green. And we were getting parts the last week. I didn't have planetaries or caps for my I started the tractor and moved it in the shop without any oil in the rear end, just because we didn't have the planetary caps yet, because we had to get our measurement from our axles and things had to happen before we ordered certain things. So everything was pretty late. I mean, the night, I don't know, maybe 3 nights before, I actually called Brian when he said that I could get it in a show. And he said, well, he knew that it could be a make or break. If something would have popped up out of the ordinary, we wouldn't have made it.
It's beautiful. It's fun to see a full build like this. I love this.
Yeah, so that cage came from Bob Barbie as well. He sent me the cage kit, and then we modified things. We didn't like the gap between the certain cages, and we lowered some bars, and we just did our own thing on it. Our webbing. Yeah, everything was just kind of Spy. A long time ago, my brother had Spy chassis on his stuff, but where Spy chassis originated from is me and a friend, Eddie Dutra, would go to sprint car racing, and we built a little junior sprint, and we copied about 3 different cars and built it in the shop together. So he was the one who actually came up with Spy chassis, and it stuck around for a while. But in all reality, that's what we still do. And a lot of people do it. They see certain things, what they like, and mix them together and come up with the end product.
That's a good question. What color white paint did you use? It seems to glow. Chris Kilberger says, Robbie.
That was a Cosmo with a metallic white with a clear coat, powder coated. And I wanted to go a pearl white, but the people with powder coating, they do a lot of race car stuff. And he knew what I was after. The only thing when I showed up that day to drop it off, the only thing I knew it wasn't going to be was black, because everything's black nowadays.
Yep.
So, I sent a few pictures out to a few people that help out, and with different colors that he had there that were equipment buggies or whatever leaving. And there was a blue that was too much like Criswell. So then the guy popped out of the back and said, oh, you want this white? And he showed it to me, and I was like, let's not make it difficult, just get it done. So he whipped it out, and it stayed really good.
It's sharp. It is sharp. Here's a good front shot. Here we're getting closer.
So we're proud of our front weight box. AJ had a lot of time into that, and he kind of has on his 4-wheel drive. He has them little push buttons there that really cleans things up, and it locks it down real tight. I figured weight would knock it off, but I've been on the hunt for lead in California for a while, and I had to build my fuel tank in the middle. You might see it in a later picture, just so I could run the tractor weights on this first few passes. And then once I get the lead collected, I could put my front cover on, which we're proud of that whole front weight box.
So here's the first picture of the rear tires. So we're getting closer.
Them are actually tires I borrowed from Brian Massetti. And the kicker on that is I was told, what do I need for offset? Because I didn't have it together. And I think Bob told me 14 inches is going to be tight, 13 inches, you have plenty of room. So I'm not, I only know the minis, and I know the planetary is not easy to put a spacer on the wheel. So I made sure I had plenty of room. Well, when I took them wheels and tires off, my new ones that I got a week before we were ready to go didn't actually let it fit in the trailer. So Melanesia has actually towed that thing over there for me, and I took Brant's 2-wheel drive for him.
Nice.
So the tanks, we did our own. I heard a few years ago, that Oberg, you just can't get their base anymore for these tanks, weld-ons, and I never had a problem, so I was kind of ignored the conversation. But when I went to do it, yeah, that was an issue. So we built our own tanks, and we had to actually fab our base, which is easy for someone like Logan that has a machine shop.
Yeah, I know a guy with a machine shop. He's
Yeah.
a couple thousand miles away, but I think he can make you about 10 of those if you want.
Yeah, I should have, but we were last minute, and we did a little beaver job on them, and they work. That's all I can say.
They work. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we built them tanks to actually hang out front on the outside of each motor. That's why I have it rounded in the corners. And once we got it further along together, Brant was in the shop, and we looked around. I said, is this where we want them? And after walking around and setting them in certain spots, that's where they ended up, and that's where they looked the best. And I'm pretty happy with picking that out too.
Absolutely. What we got here, Robbie?
Robbie Cruikshaw actually sent me the planetaries. It was he told me from the start he's a pricier deal, but it's a good deal. So a few things he told me was the outer bearing instead of the bushing or the brass bushing, and so I was sold on them. Bob Jostock helped me out with all the housing stuff. He has them things ran, and I tried to get the magnesium ones because I know them are just a good one, but I guess they don't make a run of them very often. So I was stuck with it.
They're getting hard to come by.
Yeah.
So now we got a roller, it looks like, Robbie, here. At this
Yeah,
point.
I think that's the roller when fenders, no fenders yet. That was when we go over. AJ did all the fabricating on it except for the fenders. I had another friend that is a better aluminum welder. AJ just doesn't have the equipment to weld aluminum yet. He can weld aluminum. He just didn't have the equipment to do it. So I moved it over to another friend of mine that's built me some stuff in the past, and he knocked out the fenders. I rolled them, I framed them, but if you ever rolled aluminum in a Harbor Freight roller, they don't come out the best, but once you put them on his table, he had them things straightened out, didn't even care about what the tractor was doing. He built them on the table as square as can be, and he put them on my tractor and told me how my roll cage was off a little bit. So, and that guy, he just does. I mean, he's been in chopper magazines and everything else, so he is very good at what he does.
There's so you're framing for the fenders there. That's kind of a cool shot. I like that.
Yeah.
Oops, wrong way. Sorry, guys. There we go. There she's white, Robbie.
Yeah, that's when I found out my axles were 2 inches too short. The measurement I was given trying to order them without the actually measurement was off somewhere or another. Our wires got crossed, and I ended up with 2 axles that are too short.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Robbie Fagundas. We're going through the build from his first mod, or his first mod. I think this is your first mod, right, Robbie?
Yeah. No, I built. Actually, I built Deuces Wild, and I actually had my hand in rebuilding my brothers a few times.
Oh, okay. I like this picture. That sharp kind of shows the chassis sitting there. Oh, it's amazing how, I guess, simple they look, Robbie, but how intense it is.
Yeah.
As they sit there. So.
Well, you see the twist on mine, and I've talked to a lot of these guys over the last few days that this class is hot, man. I had my eye on it for a few years. Well, actually, I had my eye on it when they started it, and Bowers had 3 on there, and then they changed the rules, and I was almost ready to dive into it back then, but I let the rules settle a little bit, and sure enough, it kind of settled out, and it comes around pretty good. But a lot of guys called me over the last few days, and the twist, you see mine twist so hard. And it's nothing to do with the frame. It's more to do with going back to the gearboxes, like on the minis, Logan. They overdrive the frame, the drivetrain to get to the rear end, and underdrive it there to take the twist off the frame and put it on the rear end. Unfortunately, I didn't do the overdrive on my crossbox, which would have calmed that thing down quite a bit and not twisted it. But we'll see how that turns out. I don't know if there's still a cross member I could put in it in the middle. I was told by Modern that he doesn't. A lot of guys don't run it in the twin, but in the mod they put it. So I put the mounts there for it, but we didn't run it this weekend. We were going to go put it in the second day to see the difference. Anytime you get a chance, especially out here, to run 2 days in a row on the same track, you can learn something. But we were changing motors through the night, so I didn't get a chance to go make a cross member up.
What do we got here, Robbie? Oh, that's the fender.
That's just the fenders after they were all squared up. And actually, they're not even powder. I don't think they're powder coated. I'm not sure if they are, but that's when the fenders were done, skinned inside and out.
Yep. There we go. Here's a good pic of them. Yep. They're on the table that you were talking
I wanted one sheet, but I just couldn't get a sheet to cover all that. So I had to put a seam down the middle on the top, and then on the bottom side, it's a 3-piece seam. I didn't want to use rivets. I like that clean look, but there was just no way to do it, because if I painted it, I could have done the 3M, but they said the 3M would run or either not hold up if you powder coated it. So
what do we got here, Robbie?
That's just when my set of tires came in versus versus the ones I had from Massetti for mock-up. And I had a measurement from center. It was a 37.5-inch radius. And if you want to go back to maybe one of the other pictures that showed the frame, when I had the frame of the fenders on there. Yeah. Go to the side view.
Okay, hold on a second.
Back one.
Nope. Did I go too far?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. So if you see that, you can see it's a pretty decent distance through there. But when you put them, as soon as we rolled them other tires next to it, it was like, oh shit, are these fenders going to get wiped out by the tire? But they don't grow. I mean, obviously you lift the fenders up, you're only growing half of the distance of that. So it was close, but I liked that look. I didn't want a big gap, and I didn't want my roll cage protruding forward. I didn't want it too high. I spied on a lot of things to come up with the way we finished that thing.
Well, it is beautiful, buddy. You should be proud.
Thank you.
You should be proud. I'm glad you come on tonight to share. I love these pictures. This is fun. Logan, you got to be geeking out right now.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm just sitting back here and enjoying the craftsmanship, because I know it takes a lot of work to start from 2 bare frame rails and get all of this hung on it. So that just a beautiful build start to finish.
So there's the first picture we're showing of a complete, or it looks like you got the decals on there. That's Brody, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So once we got it finished, it went over to Melanesio's shop. That's Brant's day job. And Steve was gracious enough to let Brant do it, which I think Steve wants the competition anyway. So he definitely welcomed us over there, and it rolled into his shop without fenders. Fenders were at powder coat. He landed one motor. I got the fenders a week later, which was the Wednesday before the week of Madeira. We got the fenders on. I think that next morning, I think Brant already had stickers made. So that next morning, Brant sent me a picture of the fenders on it with the decals. And we got the second motor hung. Brant did all the plumbing. I had the electrical ran. I kind of took pride in making sure I hid my electrical. So if you look up at the cockpit, and I went the extra mile and put holes in the tubes and did everything I needed to do to run the electrical and hide it as good as I could. Another thing I did, you can see under the seat amounts right there, because you never know when Justin's going to decide to run it. So 2 things I did is I made that seat adjustable. It's on clamp collars. And then I made them brakes are symmetrical. So if you actually look at the brake, I can unbolt the pad, put it on the top, and I could flip them brakes 180, and it moves the pedal up, 6 to 8 inches closer to the cage, in case Justin ever decides to get in there, or Brody.
Brody's ready. Brody's ready.
Yep. So the floorboard, once you put things together, I like the Monday morning quarter. It's okay when someone comes up to you and tell you how nice it looks, but I want to hear what they mumble when they walk away. Like, I would have done this or I'd have done that, because I do it to other people myself. So most people that come up and I say, well, what critique it for me? What's different? Well, Steve Melanesio didn't like my floorboard. It's a 2-piece deal, highly functional to work on, but he and Brant kind of agreed with it to put a one-piece floorboard in there, cover up the back end so you can't look in there, put your fire extinguisher back there. So it's just, and then I agree. So I'm going to do that right now. I got some repairs to do on it. So AJ and I will put a different style floorboard on it. We'll raise it up a little bit, and it'll just be a little bit upgrade to it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And my front fuel tank, I had it, like I said, if you go back to that last picture, you see how I had it built it. Someone told me it looked like a donkey dick, so I just had to do it. It's fun. I had to put the weights under there. So once I get it done, I'm probably going to change that and put a 45 right there, clean that up a little bit so it doesn't look as bad.
And you really do critique it, Robbie. Wow.
Yeah. But it's
I
good
guess
to hear.
your own
Everybody has
version.
different tastes, I mean,
Yeah.
I like my fenders, but if I had to do them over, you could see up top where they go flat. I would have probably stretched them 4 inches up top and pushed the wing back a little bit. It looked good from the side. I like that look, but from the front, I take that back. It looks better from the front than it does from the side. It looks a little too short from the side. I wish that wing would have been pushed back 4 inches.
So you want to go out over the rear tire more, is what you're saying?
Yeah, hang back 4 inches deeper away from the cage.
I mean, if you can't bear to look at it in your shop anymore, I'm sure we can find a place out here.
Well, that is the plan. I plan on running back there a majority of the time with it. I just gotta, honestly, Outlaws is a lot closer to home for us. So that might be where I get to go a few. And I know Brant likes going out there with his 2-wheel drive, so we might plan a few trips out there. But I really don't want to lose my parking spot at Bowling Green. So that's the plan, is to be in Bowling Green. And if it's not with both of them, it's going to be with one or the other.
Yeah, that's
the way I blow up motors. I might not have anything left but to run a Mini.
most of the texts I got this weekend, Robbie, were, is he coming east with it? Is he coming east with it? I said, well, watch the podcast Monday night and we'll ask him. So.
That's the plan, but I'll tell you what, you were here this weekend. That group's a fun group. And there's some people at the bottom that are just as competitive as us at top. And I talked to my brother a little bit yesterday. He's actually ready to do the triple Chevy deal in this class. And I think that could
Triple Chevy's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Was it Kester? Which one of you, did anybody watch No Practice last week? I didn't watch the whole thing, but was it Kester or was it Tyler Slaw that said somebody's going to do this 3 Chevy thing and do it right, and it's really going to mess with a lot of people? I think it was probably Kester.
Yeah.
So
like I said, it's I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than 4 Chevys against 3 Hemis. I think the 3 Chevys, I think you'd be real well. What they do? Who's that team that does it? Ulmer does it with Steve Payne, and there's a couple events where they can't touch him. Consistently, I look back and he wins a certain event every year. I don't know.
Well, no, they won the points a couple years ago. They're competitive.
Yeah,
they're competitive. So, what's the story behind the name Rob Dog? Russell Steely's wanting to know.
Oh, actually, 4 or 5 years ago when I started going with Sullivan's to Louisville, someone asked me, what would, if you could participate, what would you like to do? And I was like, you know what, a 3-engine Chevy, opposite of Sullivan's, color white, and called the California. And Brant remembered that because Brant was the one who actually came back with the Californian, and I kind of forgot about it. So Brant was like, yeah. Brant picked the colors as far as the decals on it. And I don't think nobody was a fan of white. When you first say it, it sounds stupid, but I was going, once I went to the powder coat shop and I seen what I seen, I was like, yep, we're going with that. But
if you don't like the looks of that picture, you can't be my friend anymore. That's what I'm going to say. That is.
I don't know if people were more worried about trying to keep it clean. And after this weekend, when you do a motor swap and you see the fingerprints on everything, I get that. But, oh, well, I figured get your pictures when it's new.
Yeah. Yeah, get all the t-shirts made. I like it.
So that begs the question.
Jesselin's oldest, by the way, everybody. That's Brant and Jesselin's oldest, Brody. Is he 3 or 4?
He'll be 4 in a couple weeks. He is a chip off his old man's block right there. He's very meticulous. That is an all-American tractor pulling family, because you got Brody, who is about as anal and is a perfectionist, is even lining his little cars up. as anybody can be and real intense. And you got Baker, who's next to him, who just wants to roll around and have a good time. He doesn't get deterred much. And then you got a little baby sister over here. She just looks at all of them like, what are you guys doing this for? So, stupidest thing ever. She'll just look at you like you're stupid.
Out of all the pictures you sent me today, Robbie, this is my favorite. So I love it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we actually had a good time. That was Friday night afterwards when I said I was debating on going to rip the motor out of the Mini. And I said, I think I'm gonna go home and grab that motor out of the Mini. And I was on the fence. All I needed was somebody to tell me no. But Brody stood next to me and looked at his mom and said, I'm gonna go with Bubba. So as soon as he said that, we were going. But as soon as we got in the truck, he fell asleep and was out from that time we left till the time we came back the next morning and got donuts. So he and that's my youngest daughter, Haley. She came from Monterey with her boyfriend and they hung out for the weekend. So yeah, it was good. Honestly, going to Madera, I haven't really participated in California in several years. Going to Madera, and I went last year and I went the year before just to, hang out, spectate, help somebody. But going in, signing up Joan Massetti and Christy Massetti, as soon as you walk in, it was just a good experience. They treat you like they want you there. You don't feel like you're getting your pocket picked when you're actually checking in. They want to know how many people you have coming. They want to make sure you get the passes. It seems like they don't want your family harassed. They want them in and out, and they just take care of you. And from the time we close the trailer door, everybody, the Massetti family is, I've never seen Lexi. I've seen her when she was younger, but I've seen that she's grown up quite a bit. And James and Trevor with them guys, you could tell them guys are really into truck and tractor pulling. It's not just handed down from their dad to where they're doing it because their dad do it. Them kids are pretty excited about it. And I haven't seen them really paid attention in a few years, but it was good to see that.
Yeah, they're all in. Good times.
Yeah.
What do we got here? I got some more pictures here. Kids having fun. That's your youngest daughter, Robbie, you said?
Yeah, that's my youngest. She lives in Monterey. She just graduated from that otter school over there, whatever. We should have named her Libby because she's a little liberal.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it. I got the here's a video. Here's one. Yep. So this is the Saturday morning, right?
Yeah.
It's a sad day to be a mini rod.
Minis aren't much bigger than that cart, so whatever.
And there you're in the pits there.
Well, the motors are there. What's going on with the minis now?
Well, the minis will get the one motor back together, the Brad. I still have a spare on top. I got 3 complete motors, and then I got 1 short block that all I'm lacking was heads, which I was going to purchase this year to have a spare for either the Mini or this. But as you've seen in Hillsboro and last weekend, my spare is pretty much depleted. So right now I'm down to 2. Brant will get that other motor back together. He's going to order parts and pieces and get everything new. He already told me no more making bad decisions like that. Do it right or don't do it. So he's going to order the new parts. We'll get the crank checked, see if the cam made it, and we will get the parts together and get that one back, put it back in the Mini. One Mini I'm going to sell off. I actually, we could sell it either way. It's got a Brad 5 that James Phillips has. So we might put that in the planetary chassis or just part it out. And then James Phillips's Mini is probably going to get an LS. I hear there's an LS class with the 410 cubic limit that would be more up James's alley for him to maintain that thing and just have fun with it, not have to work on it like a blower motor. So that's kind of the direction we're going. But James actually wants to get a 2-wheel drive eventually. So if he's able to move something, he will get a 2-wheel drive and come out here and play with Brant, try to grow that class.
For those of us in the Midwest and East, Brant, what did Brant say? You could put a sign out for a truck pull in Kentucky and have 32-wheel drives by the end of the day. And so last year there was 3 2-wheelers at the Golden State Invitational. This year there were 7, and they made Brant work for it. So they're all stepping up their game. They got good equipment, and they're all stepping up their motor programs, Robbie, to come play. Even Melanesio said it. He's been dominant since I've been out there for 4 years, and when he gets beat, it's an oddity. But he says they're all coming for me.
They are. He earned it Saturday night. I know I didn't lay down a good pass, but
Portuguese Pounder did. Whew.
Yeah, well, Paul Barcelos laid down a good pass, and I even told him the second night or the first night, I said, you got to drive that thing harder, man. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, and I'm sure you hear it from everybody, but if you'd have drove it harder, you'd have got by me easy the first night. And the second night, he definitely drove it harder, and he was out there. And I said, and I don't think the track was getting better. I think the more passes we made, it was going away. So I was like, hey, this is the night, Paul. You might, end up. And Melanesio came out and did what he needed to do. He earned it. I told him before he ran, I said, if he beats us, he earned it. Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, he didn't walk away with it Saturday night at all.
Yeah,
at all. And everybody watching, Paul's got Craig Corzine's second burn or second degree? What was
second
it called?
Degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sharp. And he made his debut last year at the Gold State Invitational. Yep.
And he has a Kentucky Motors that Kentucky was running right before he switched to the TA1s, and them are no slouch motors either. Them are good motors.
Wow.
Yeah. Paul, Jesus. Robbie, Chris wants to know who some of your pulling mentors or heroes are. Who'd you look up to?
Well, obviously minis, and you got Johnny Mello. Growing up in the 80s, I watched Johnny Mello go back east when I didn't know what back east was, and he would run home and still win the points here. He might miss 1 or 2, and I can't remember exactly how big it was, but there was 7 or 8 in the class, and they were competing, and he had family member or related to Butch Betancourt, Bully Burger right around the corner. So growing up around that, it's them guys right there that were a lot. But I'll tell you, someone in the last few years that I really look up to and respect is old Rick Peters. He is still just doing it and going after it, and I have a lot of respect for guys like that.
Yes,
no, I mean, and then obviously all of it. Bruce Law was one guy. I've been doing maintenance in food plants forever, and I worked at a food plant, a bottling plant. We had someone in there at the time, and he was a mechanic for a bottling company, and I didn't know it, and we got in conversation. He said, and somewhere another tractor pulling came up. He says, oh, my boss does that. I said, who's your boss? And he told me, and I happened to have a Puller magazine in my office. I went over there and grabbed it. I said, is this your boss? And he said, yeah, that's him. So that's kind of a funny story that I told Bruce one time. And yeah, it was to them, it's back there. It's no big deal. My boss goes and does that stuff. But he was it was whatever year he was with the mod in the Pro Puller, in the Puller magazine. So yeah, but there's guys, I mean, anybody who does this, it's so much time and so much money and so much work that you respect anybody who does it. I mean, it's a tough gig. I mean, there's some people that are a little bit more fortunate than others, and they have a business that connects to it and helps them out. But it's tough to do. Especially, even the local stuff is even worse because they go out for a lot less and they work just as hard. And, I mean, I respect anybody that works like that. Donnie Sullivan tells me all the time, ain't no one gonna ever outwork you. But there's a lot of guys I see work. I know AJ Freitas is someone that if you had to say will outwork you, he's a guy that'll outwork me right now. I mean, he's a worker. So
and AJ, his family has the Earthshaker 2 mod, right?
Earthshaker 2, and then he has a Pro Mod truck, which he went back east with me. He actually drove the Mini for me last year a couple of times, and he actually is into 4-wheel drives, and he's been talking to the right people back there, introduced him to a few. And he's actually going to step up his program. He's been beating himself up trying to make a Ford run on a Hemi Ford, which good motor. But I asked him why. And over the last 7 years that I've known him, he's always said, I think I can make it run just as good as. I said, you know what I learned from going back there? Instead of getting something and trying to make it run just as good as, just go get as and be done with it. And so he did that. He went out and got the right motor, and he's looking to step his whole deal up. And he ran it one time, and it ruined every running gear piece he had under there. So obviously that tells him he didn't have the power he thought he had. And so now he's redoing the running gear, and he's going to make an effort to go back east. And I think his goal is Bowling Green 2 next year.
Nice. I love it. If anybody's got any questions for Robbie Fagundas, we're going to wrap up with him in a few minutes. Just join us. He took us through his brand new mod build, and it's pretty neat. So, Randy, what do you think of all that? What you've seen, Mr. Ohio?
Yeah, that's pretty damn exciting. I there's one thing I will throw out there. If you when you and Branch are in Bowling Green with the Mini and the mod and the two-wheeler, if you want to leave it around for a while, we have a lot of pulling in Ohio, really close, and you guys can come around for sure. We would greatly appreciate having you for sure. And I know Brant because I've been down there with those guys, with Donnie and old Pawpaw Wayne quite a bit. So absolutely, it'd be great to have you for sure.
Yeah, that's how it all started. Like Jason was saying earlier, Doug Borth called me, and I think Ellsworth was turning their regional pool into a qualifier for Enderley on a state level deal. And that's what made me go out there and shoot. Doug took care of me and his family, and then there's always someone out there willing to take care of you. That's the great thing about pulling. I mean, I believe me, if I ever had anything near Kansas, I'd be calling Logan, and just I mean, they're all willing to and as anybody out here, I can tell you one thing. The GSI is a great show, and I will probably say right now it equals the best thing we've ever had in the state. The best thing we ever had in the state was West Coast Nationals years ago.
When was that, Robbie?
Huh?
When was that?
West Coast Nationals ended probably 7 or 8 years ago, and it was a Tulare Farm Show. And it was Larry Kester used to come out here and hit it every year with us, our 3 or 4 years in a row. And it started with, common sense, farm show, tractor pulling. Why not have it? The first year, it was a success as far as they got a board over there that makes a lot of decisions. It was a big success. They got a little bit tighter with us, and they started getting tighter. We had 4 hooks in a matter of, or 4 different venues in a matter of 2.5 weeks. We went to Santa Maria one year. I think it was a 2-day show. Then a week later, we went to Stockton, and then we went to Bakersfield, and we wrapped up the finals for a point series at the Tulare Farm Show for 2 hooks. So you come out in 2.5 weeks and get like 6 hooks. It was built up pretty good. We had people coming from it. It was the first year Green Monster came out. It was a big deal too. And I mean, the only thing that happened at that time is I don't think this social media was as big and what it was. Me and Jason actually ran into each other in Wyoming at a bar. It sounds like a country song, but that's where it was.
Yep. And we drank all night long, and then we went to the casino, and that's I have a lot of good memories of Robbie.
Yeah, and that's where we talked about just getting the exposure of this stuff out. And then 2 or 3 years later, I think the farm show ended just for whatever reason, and Donnie Reeves started getting involved a little bit, and we went back east and done a few shows. And then Donnie wants to put on a show. If you know Donnie Reeves, he wants to do the best. If he's going to do something, he's going to find out how you do it, who's doing it, and he wants to one-up him. So they actually asked me, what would you do to make this the best show? And I said, you need to get a hold of Jason Schultz and get this thing out there and get it advertised. And I don't know if they did or didn't, but I know a few years later when Brian started doing GSI, him and Jason got pretty tight. And I think that's what's really helping it. I mean, it's making a difference for us out here.
Yeah, it's Randy, and again, I'm always pretty honest on the podcast, Logan. You guys, that show that I saw Friday and Saturday night, you could take it anywhere in the country and drop it in. Any NTPA, any PPL, any outlaw, anything that you think that it's a big show, and it fit. I mean, it was nice. 3 hours, and they move it fast. Outlaw shows move fast. They always have, and that show moves just as fast, and it's ingrained into their heads out there. I talk to Massetti a lot. He's a very good friend of mine. We became great friends over the years. Last 3 or 4 years helping with his events. This is the one I really put all my effort into for him. And they have contracts. They have to be done in 2 hours or 2.5 hours, Randy, because they want people back out on the midway spending money at the fair. So John Spielman and that Brad Griffin, they're down there at the starting line, and they're not mean, but they're barking and firing. And that was a fast-paced show. And then you know it when you're running the live stream, Randy and Logan, on how fast you got to get a replay up and get your distances up and your leaderboard on how fast the show moves. And that's And I know it sounds funny, but it almost moves too fast because you want to get a replay up and you want to give Dan a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just flying. You know what I mean? So.
Well, for me, when I go back and I get anything, the first thing I do is I look at where I'm at in the lineup, and I not only count the classes, I count the hooks, and I times that by 3 minutes because that's usually what it is, 3 minutes a hook, and that's a good flowing show. And Brian, both nights when we started, it was 6. We were 20 hooks back, and I think I hooked at 7, right at 7. So we're 20 hooks back both nights, and so he was right on par with what the way they run them.
Wow.
Now, Outlaws, like them guys, they do. I've been a part of them for a little bit, and they run a fast show, which is good. I mean, from a standpoint, but if you're in line and you don't get a chance to say, "Oh, my battery's dead, let's look at it for a while," they will move right past you.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree a little bit with that, but I hate to be the guy that has a dead battery.
I understand. I understand. Absolutely. I'm with you. I understand.
You figure out who your friends are. But no, you mentioned coming out here with the Outlaws a little bit this coming summer. Hopefully the minis will take priority, but maybe we'll make a couple events there. Shake up on some Chevy power with you guys.
Yep.
What is is that a California one, Stanless County Fair? Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I believe that's Stockton.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's
Caleb Hodge is checking in on Facebook. He commented on a lot of stuff this weekend, so I think he's from out there.
Yeah, I believe Stanislaus is the Stockton area. It might be Turlock. I'm not sure. But back in the day when NTPA made a few hooks out here, I remember Johnny Mello talked, or not Johnny, but Stan Mello talked, got it somewhere or another. There were some hooks out here. I don't know if it was Cal Palace, but I do remember being young going up to Turlock or Stockton, and that was one of the hooks where In-Laws and Outlaws were here. There were many that I'm not sure exactly who. It's Turlock is what Jeremy Correa says. But yeah, that was a long time ago when NTPA actually came out here, and I seen some stuff on it the other day. But I can tell you one thing: we could put together a hell of a winter circuit right now if the right people got together and agreed, and you could get some people that aren't exactly going to the Louisville, but they could come out here and you could hook with Brian. You could hook with Babel's show the week before, which was an excellent show. He does it right at his farm. He calls it Bet on the Farm, and believe me, that was just as good a show as any other. And, Brian, obviously, like I said, West Coast Nationals, but this year going, I can honestly say Brian has matched what West Coast Nationals did. He's only doing with one show. And West Coast Nationals actually grew at one time to 4 hooks. So, but okay. I mean, you could get a winter series out here and wrap it up in February or however you want to run it, but you could do a good point series.
Yeah, you just got to get 2 or 3 in a row.
For your equipment as well.
Make it worth everybody's while. Get 2 or 3 in a row. So
yeah, and you got to leave your equipment. Believe me, I'm the only dumb one that drags stuff back and forth because it's cross country, $2,500 in fuel anytime you want to go one way. So there's enough people out here that take care of you guys, just like you guys take care of us. They would farmers. They would have put your equipment up and it'd be safe and secure, and you guys could fly in and out. And you can add 6 or 7 numbers to that class in a blink. I think Pro Mod trucks you can add probably the same to that. Now you're gonna have to eliminate some other classes so you don't have such a long show, but there's a lot of classes that could be eliminated if you ask me.
So Robbie, do you guys pull the blown minis out there?
We haven't, but I have been in talks with the gentleman I sold my sled to in Arizona, and we were getting ready to make it functional to come out. We could still get numbers out here right now. If we wanted to put on a blown mini show, I could probably have 7, upper state level quality minis out there, which I know Logan would probably be.
Where are you at, Robbie? I'm getting ready to Google Map this.
Yeah, don't take much to get guys out here. We're right in dead center of California, Fresno. Just put Fresno.
Oh, and it's beautiful country, guys. It's beautiful. I mean, it is. I don't live out there, and I have to deal with the politics and all the stuff that the guys hate. But I'm telling you, Logan, it's just like being in Kansas or Ohio, Randy, just with palm trees and nicer weather and higher gas prices.
Otherwise, San Joaquin Valley is farmland.
So that was my next question. What mini sled do you guys have out there? It sounds like it was one that you built.
It was the one I built one, and then Gary Weisenberger had built one at the college that he ran for years out here. And I built one after the farm show, after like the second or third year of the farm show. I built one because it was hard to get anybody to want to come back here. They wouldn't pull a sled like what we were doing. It was dangerous. I mean, it was on wheels the first 50 feet, and then he lifted the wheels. And I actually have a good wreck somewhere that I could share a video with Jason the next few days where I got shuck around that thing like a rag doll. And that's actually what prompted me to build one. And so I built one basically, like I said, spying on everybody else's stuff and just putting one together. And we ran that thing. And I was able to, Logan Thomas came out when he sold Brian his sled. And I'd like to take credit for everybody stepping the sled game up out here, because when I built my sled, and it was a speed sled and they were still doing a drag sled, and, you know, everybody talked about wanting to hook that sled, and I pulled the country mod trucks. And, you know, the big deal was getting a sled. You got it for the minis. You couldn't run it for anything else. I ran it for, if we did a hook, you can go back and look. If we did hooks, I pulled at least, if there were 60, I hooked 30 of them or plus. I mean, I always did more than half. But we were pushing that sled to the limits. It wasn't built for it, but I did country mods, all the stock truck classes. I think I did 58s one year. It held its own. And Brian bought his sled a few years later, and then Valley bought one, and then Brian just bought another one. So our sled game has definitely came up in the last few years. And I remember going from 6, 7, 12 hooks a year to when we were really rolling. There was one year we had 41 hooks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean,
if you guys can make a series of kind of like what we saw debuted this past week with the Florida swing down there with the NTPA, 2 good hooks or 2 good weekends, and then figure out some good sponsors with some fuel money, I bet you could have a class of 15 plus minis out there real easy.
Yeah. Well, we had the farm show when we were tied with them doing it. Then people had gas trucks coming to the fairgrounds and filling rigs up and wanting to give alcohol, and they had the right way to sponsor it and get sponsored. And then when that fell apart, my brother, I think he might have stayed away for a year, but then he picked it up the following year. And me and Brian were actually involved in it. We were like, let's do it. You know, the people are here already for this farm stuff. They're coming. We had good crowds in Tulare. And it was like, we got to do this. And so we started doing it together. It was kind of like, well, if it takes a shit and we lose our ass, then, you know, the sleds don't worry about, and, you know, our tractors don't worry, you know, we're just going to stick but it came together so quick for my brother. He was like, no, I got it. I'll do it. You know, some of the sponsors came back on, and he took care of it. So yeah, it's only one day show now. I wish it'd go to 2, but I mean, if you're flipping the bill for it, it's a different story. When you're just sitting on the sidelines saying what you should and shouldn't do, like Brian's entitled to do what he wants. He pays for it, so he can do call that show an invitational. He can do whatever he wants. And Donnie with Tulare, he pays for that out of his pocket. He can do whatever he wants, you know.
Well said. No, Logan, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I mean, I think a winter circuit eventually out there, and you'll see more guys come from out east. And it takes some stuff like this for people to realize it and check it out. And guys like Robbie that come out and support it, you know, come out east and ask for guys to come back. Because that's one thing, you know, that the best promoters do is if they have a pulling vehicle, they'll go to your event and then they ask you to come to theirs. And that's that give and take a little bit. And, you know, that's why you see guys jumping from organization to organization. And I think pulling organizations are still important, but pulling's starting to get a little bit more like, hey, I'll go check that out, or I just want to go run. And that's been fun to see all that. I've enjoyed that. So
for me, I think the best thing that can happen to us out here is the pullers that are actually live in different towns put on their pull. But there's some competitiveness between the promoters out here, and they'll talk about how it's such a hard job and hard to put on the pull, and it's so much work. And I get it. I've been involved with it. I've done it with them. But if it's so much work, why do you get mad when you lose a show to the next promoter? So, and why are you trying to keep everybody out? Let the guys put the shows on, help them, support them in their hometown. If Anthony Freitas wants to do Chowchilla, we should support him, do the whole thing. It's his hometown. If Alan Babel wants to do, you know, Hillmar or whatever, we should support him and not stand in their way and push him along and do whatever we can. Not try to say, what's that guy doing? You know, why is he trying to put on? No, let's just support him. And that's not was going on out here. I don't know if it's changed. I really don't care if it's changed, but in order for them to get good venues and people behind it, because people will say there's some very good people that promote shows out here as far as like a appearance from the grandstands or watching the show. But when someone puts on the show themselves, like Brian's doing Madera, there's a whole different level of promoting from Brian when he puts on Madera versus the other shows. He is promoting Madera and putting it together for success. So the other ones, they go in, Fairground gives them $20,000. They ask to put on a entertainment for 2 hours. They don't want to talk about what classes you're bringing, what tractors, how many tractors are in the class, what's the hot class out right now. They just don't. They shy away from that. They just want
they're just checking that box. I need to fill a 2 or 3 hour grandstand spot. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Robbie. And that's the stuff that needs to be said.
It's a big difference.
Yep.
Big difference in promoters for sure.
Well, I mean, Mike Lewis is another promoter out here, and he goes to Nevada and puts on a few shows. And I was just hearing through the grapevine how the entertainment and how he just really put together a show. Well, he's the one who put the money out and rented the grandstand, so it made him promote it. If he didn't get the advertisement out and get it done, he was going to lose his ass. So he went out and did it, and he's a good promoter. It's not easy to promote. I'm not saying that. I haven't done it, but I watched them do it, and I've been close enough to see what they go through, and it's not easy. But for some reason, they don't like losing shows, so it must not be that hard, huh?
Right. Well, there's competition makes everybody better. I like it. It.
Can I say the Jason quote?
Which one?
Pullers make the best promoters.
They do.
The best
because they know.
promoters.
And just like you talked about, you listen to Robbie build his tractor. You know, Robbie's had these minds and he's seen this on so-and-so's tractor and this on so-and-so's tractor. And that's why his tractor looks beautiful. And out of the gate, it ran, and that's the same thing with being a promoter. We all go to a venue and I would do this and I would do this, but I'll never say it out loud unless somebody asks me, because I know how much time and energy and money it takes to promote an event. And I'm glad that people want to do it for us. You know what I mean? Because it's a big risk. You're risking tens of thousands of dollars or more if it goes really bad, to put on an event like this. So, and Robbie, this is the first year that I had more comments about your tractor on social media than I did I can't believe Gavin Newsom let some blow black smoke in California. So it's been kind of fun. Now, this is Billy Beers' old tractor. This is the original war wagon right here. This tractor lives in Washington. So it's Gary Seitzma. I always say that wrong, but that's his tractor there. This is Friday night.
That class was well represented last year.
So.
That class with what's his name coming out from New York?
Owens.
Yep. Owens coming out. That class was well represented last year. It was a good show.
Yep. But now I'm telling you guys, the California thing is legit, and it's very, very legit. It's come a long ways in the last 4 years since I've been out there that first year. And then, like you said, the social, the live stream, all that helps, Robbie, a ton.
Yeah.
Because that live stream got shown to our full pull live audience. That's big. And there's a lot of Grand National pulling fans and Outlaw pulling fans and it's kind of fun because it's later at night too. Like this started at 9 o'clock Eastern at Randy's house.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Was Uncle Sam in Madera last year?
The very first year he was in Madera. Yep.
He was actually at Babelle's pull the week before. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think him and Alan are pretty good buddies.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't come to this.
I heard that they hurt one of the motors and they weren't going to run it on 3.
Okay.
I don't think they were ever coming. I think there's some politics going on there, but
there's a lot of feelings still. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, get over it. So,
I wanted to show Carrera's run here. He went 425. Where was that at? There's Hammer Down. There he is. We'll watch this. He went cruising by our camera. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually went to Babelle's pool and ran twins. And,
okay.
I was almost going to go do tests there, but we weren't together yet. And he ran just as strong with twins as he did right here.
Yeah, no, this was fun. So this is at the Madera Speedway, everybody. Kenny Shepard owns it, and they do a lot of like up and coming NASCAR kids. Randy and Logan run out there, and he loves this. I mean, the horsepower. And this was Saturday night was the biggest crowd I've seen for Brian and Christy too. So it's been growing.
Good.
And it was good to see that there. So
So how far is it from Madera to Allen Babel's?
It was only an hour and a half. Not even that. It's not even an hour.
Okay.
It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah. They should have really done something. Hopefully they put together something to make pullers. I mean, to me, I built a sled. Larry Kester was a Grand National champion the year after I built it. Larry Kester was coming to Larry to do a display. I kiss his ass to have him hooked him to the sled I built. He got done hooking it for a couple nights, and he came to me and said, "You built a hell of a sled. One of the best sleds I pulled." And I took that as a feather man. And when someone comes from back there that is doing it serious and they do it hard and they run good and champions under their belt, I love, even when I had state level Chevy motors, to compete against them. I mean, what do you got to lose? They're running the high dollar stuff. You're running the cheap stuff. So if you get close to them, you have nothing to lose. So I love the competition. Obviously, I travel across country because I like going to a class with 30 or 40 in it. My wife just told me a couple of weeks ago about you tractor pulling. You're not even very good at it because I got like 33rd place in Bowling Green. I was like, thanks, honey, for the confidence.
You tractor pull, you're not even good at it.
Yeah, you're not even very good at it. I was like, oh, good support.
Thanks, babe. I appreciate you.
You'll be good at it with that new twin.
I hope so. I mean, I think I got the right people. That I've talked to a lot of people over this. Bunnage, Shannon Leisner, Brant obviously is turning the knobs on it, and he obviously knows what he's doing. So
yeah, that Kentuckian tractor runs pretty good.
If I wouldn't have been up all night, Donnie gave me perfect instructions to drive that thing down the track Saturday night, and I did exactly what he said not to do. Just let it. But I was on a lack of sleep. But yeah, I was numb at that time. But he gave me good instructions. Said that, hey, mid track, this sucks you to the left. You might want to start pointing to the right. And I figured I was swinging a big one from the night before because I thought I was going to drive right through it. And I did. Get me right over there.
You mentioned Shannon Leisinger there. I was watching the run of your Saturday night, and I thought to myself that some may have seen it, but when Leisner's came out with the Dirt Slinger X 2 years ago, before it's gone through all the changes and now is Matt Johnson's. But that chassis behaved very similar. So you guys built a heck of a chassis out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you. But Shannon, yeah, I talked to him a little bit ago. He just, we're just going back and forth. I've called him over the years on a lot of things, minis. He's helped me a lot. So, I mean, shoot, I didn't know Logan and them were tearing into them rear ends a little bit, making them a little better. I've never had trouble with them except for one time.
I guess that made your way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working on some stuff there just so we're not tearing on stuff too hard.
Yep.
Robbie, do you have pro pullers on? Schultz, I think you had pro pullers on, didn't you?
No, I had parts. I actually ordered Mitas, and I think Brant went to Texas, and the parts things took off. And I was watching. I seen Feist go from mid pack to the front of the pack with parts, and then Sullivan's changed, and I kind of had my eye on them, but I was told to get parts at the last minute. I switched the order, and Chad called me right before he's getting ready to ship them 3 weeks before Madera and said, "What cut do you want on them?" And I would have almost told him, but I called Brant. I was like, "Hey," and he's all, "Oh, you're not." He's got you with Mitas then if he's asking you what cut. So we caught it right before, and we made sure he knew to send us parts instead of the Mitas. So yeah, we run the parts.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Robbie, this has been fun. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thanks for being a friend over the years, and it's going to be exciting to see your new tractor. And that white, I have a feeling we might see a few more white vehicles coming out here pretty soon because that just pops. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So
I like it for now, but I'm sure it's going to get dinged. I've been looking for the touch-up paint for it already because.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys keep up the good
Thanks,
work.
Robbie.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie.
All right.
Well, that was fun, guys.
Absolutely. That was a lot of fun listening to his story, and that was a beautiful tractor for sure.
Oh,
So-
it's unreal. It is unreal. So, well, guys, PPL banquet this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of it's all the rumors. I'm excited to hear what the facts are coming out of this baby. Logan and Randy will be there in person, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, well you'll have the juice for us. Take some notes, Logan. Okay.
When are you? Yeah, you guys are going down there. What third? You get there Thursday evening.
Yep,
I'm not going to go down
there Thursday evening, making a stop there in Washington, Indiana. So,
yeah,
Illinois, wherever in the world it is. But then continuing on down and hopefully seeing you down there.
Yeah, we'll be down there. I don't know. We got a couple. I have to deliver Christmas flowers Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then we have a couple appointments on our way down. But Pizza Shop Chick and I hope to be in there. I don't know.
Randy still got a real job.
Yeah, mid-afternoon. I hope to be there. So it'll be then I don't know what. Then we'll all get together and do something. I'm sure.
I missed some final questions, guys. Sorry about that, but they're asking. There are questions for Robbie, so I feel bad about that. I just got to pay attention. What planetaries are you running? Oh,
those are Franklin planetaries. They look to be on that tractor.
Robbie, are they Franklin's?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then are you coming to Farley? We're going to find out. I think we're going to find out all that Farley stuff this weekend. Is what I'm
hearing. Yeah. I don't know anything that's going on to Farley, but I guess I could overextend myself again financially and do it.
All right, Robbie, we'll let you go. Thanks, bud.
Hey, it's great talking with you.
Yeah, no, you guys, I let Robbie go. Anybody have any final questions, thoughts, concerns? Please throw them in the comments quick. Randy, I love having you on. Logan, I love having you on as co-host. This is great. California was awesome. This is Modesto Junior College. That's their truck. The kids work on it. And they come out and help with the pole, and then they take turns driving it. Whoever works on it the most gets to drive it. That's a country modified truck. It's like a pro stock 4x4 truck, Logan, for us. Yep. So it's pretty
carbureted truck.
Yep, love it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, it'd be fun to go out there and see that. And that Western Series swing would be kind of fun to try to put together. But
Robbie's right. You got to put 2 or 3 together in a row to make it worth everybody's while. That's how the Florida thing came about for us. With full pole and the NTPA, back-to-back weekends. Orlando's a destination, right?
Yeah.
And we're bringing Grand National Polling back to Florida for the first time since like 79.
Yeah,
I think it was the last Grand National in Tampa. Is what
yes.
we had Dan Mayer look it up. So
sure. So you guys had a good time in Cali. You and Kens and Dan. Was Doug with you?
We went to Dan. We went to Pebble Beach on Thursday.
You stock up on your Pro V ones.
Yeah. So the tide was out, and I was walking on the beach right along the hole that Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore got into it on, the green.
Absolutely.
I don't know what hole it is, but the tide was out, so there was golf balls everywhere. So I picked up 5 golf balls, and I'm gonna give one to each of my kids and a couple of my buddies. Brad Holzauer that likes to golf. And, that was neat. But that's a different zip code money wise, guys. I can't imagine buying some of those places.
Did you tell them that the price was wrong, Bob?
The price is wrong, Bob.
Absolutely.
So next Monday we need to have you need to get some Logan, get something from the PPL banquet, get a guest, get some get the facts, kind of just take the big storylines from the weekend, and then I'll do the same. The NTPA's got some big announcements coming up on 3 new Grand National locations coming up in the next couple weeks. So it's going to be a lot of who's going to get the spotlight for a couple days or an hour or whatever.
Sure.
Should be enjoyable. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. And then I got the Outlaw Banquet, Logan. I got the Outlaw Banquet.
Yep.
The weekend after. Then it's Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Then it's the NTPA Banquet in Orlando.
Yeah.
Then it's PRI.
Yeah.
Yep, and then Zellwood's having a poll in December. I don't know if I should probably sneak down to that. And then, I don't know. Randy, what do you got going on the next couple weeks? PPL banquet this weekend?
PPL banquet this weekend. And then, I don't know if we have anything going on. We're just finishing up the farming deal and we got some trucking going on, but I don't know. When you say the Outlaw banquet is when?
The week after the PPL banquet. So a week from this weekend. Yep.
Where is that at?
The Ozarks. The
Yep.
Ozarks.
Just a hop, skip, and a jump from my lake house down there. You're welcome to stay there, Andy.
The Lake of the Ozarks in Jeff City, or is that where it's at?
Well, no, it's Ozarks.
You go Jeff City, and then you drop south and west just a hair.
Okay. Yeah. So Aaron and Sean and Jamie,
sir.
They have a house. They have a house on the lake there somewhere.
Yep.
I forget the address. We've been there a few times. Yeah, absolute.
Well, we might have to make a weekend out of this.
Hey, that would not be a bad idea. I would love to go to. I can't go to the NTPA banquet. I mean, because of that is our final weekend for Ohio State's executive board and the full board meeting and all the finish up the voting for next year's rules that are going to be changing. So we can't go to the NTPA, but there's nothing that says that I can't go to the outlaw one. So if we're allowed to,
you're allowed, Randy. You can sit with me. So
yeah. I have to think about that. That's only probably a 7 or 8 hour drive. It'd be just an afternoon in the park.
It's gonna be more than that, boss.
You'll probably be 10.
It's 8 hours from Wisconsin, Randy.
Yeah, well, it's how far is it from St. Louis?
2
2 hours.
Yeah, two and a half.
Yeah, we're probably get right after it. It's probably 7 to St. Louis. So yeah, we're probably 9. Yeah. Still an easy drive. So
cool. Well, we want to know who the people who watch our podcast, who you want to see on here in the next couple months. Shoot Logan a message, or Randy a message, or me, or Kenzie. You can always listen to it on Spotify and iTunes as well. We have a lot of people listen to this tomorrow at work or whatever. Kenzie always uploads the next day. She took off early tonight. We're still wore out from traveling. I'm not going to lie to you.
So when did you get? Did you guys have trouble flying, or did you guys?
It was my birthday Sunday, so we stayed up. We stayed up super late. We hung out with John Bohr and the Cal Poly kids and Kevin Massetti, and we went to bed about 4 a.m.
Oh, perfect.
And, which is 6 o'clock at home.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep.
7 o'clock we had a good time.
Yeah.
Our flight was at noon, so we have to check all that camera
Randy was
equipment.
already half over with his day.
Yeah. So then you lose 2 hours coming home. But we flew from Fresno to Dallas, which is about a 3.5 hour flight, Randy. But then we lost our 2 hours there. So we left there at 7. It was supposed to leave about 7:30. We got home about 10:30. The runway was really busy in Dallas, and they couldn't get us out right away.
So you flew right into Madison.
Yeah, and then it's about an hour and a half home. So we got home. I was sleeping by 1 a.m. this morning. So
gotcha. Understood.
I'm surprised you're still upright, Jason.
And my public service announcement is: don't be a dink on an airplane. That lady I sat next to, I've seen the Karen videos.
Yeah,
people. I still can't believe her when she yelled at that guy behind me for moving her seat because he bumped it. I looked at her and I told her I need to relax, and she flipped out on me because I had the volume up on my phone. And if we wouldn't have been in the air, that I still might be in Dallas. That's all I'm gonna say. So,
interesting.
Not fun. She was a protester, Randy. I think she was a professional protester.
Yeah, that was her job, huh? That's awesome. Yeah, nothing like having the Karen beside you. Was she in the middle seat?
No, she was on the end. I was in the middle, and she didn't like that because she told me to shut the F up, and she needed her space. And I said, well, obviously you need to fly private, ma'am. And I didn't swear because I quit swearing because I was told I swear too much, so I quit swearing.
Okay.
And I feel a lot better. I'm a better person now, Randy. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this has been fun. Great guest tonight. Robbie, been a friend of mine for a long time. Love his new tractor. It was awesome. Steve Barker coming on. Love that 4-wheel drive building clothes class. Please, if you're an association and you're looking to add a little spice, like a state level association or something like that, get at it because guys will build that. They will build that. They'll build for that class, and then who knows if it ever comes back to the big circuits, if you will. And then our first guest would have been the Batliners. That was cool, Logan. The Super Farm guys. Thank you for bringing them on.
Yeah, that was a great interview.
Yeah, we'll have to. So, what do you want? What's your thought process for Monday? Just to talk about the PPO.
Well, I want PPO. Yeah, I want PPO. It won't be gossip anymore. It'll be facts. What's going on with next year and all the stuff we're hearing in the chatterbox. And then I think you get it. Maybe you get a guest or two from the banquet, Randy, Logan. You know, get somebody who had a good year or rookie of the year, or, you know, something like that. So,
yep. I got to figure this out real quick. You going roping, Jason?
So John Bohr, the Cal Poly kids were lassoing, and they were teaching me how to lasso, and I was drinking whiskey and trying to learn how to lasso at the same time.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Kenzie was really, really worried I was going to hurt myself. That's all I'm going to say. John Bohr calls her the Jason handler. She always takes care of me when we party. So
got it.
But
got it.
No,
so
it
was Doug with you guys or no?
Nope, it was just Kenzie, Dan, and I, and then we some of the Modesto Junior College kids helped us. And,
okay, got it.
Hopefully, hopefully you see a lot more California pulling on Full Pull Live next year. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Good. Well,
not hopefully, we'll get her done. We'll get her done.
Absolutely, that'd be fun to go out there and investigate that and see if we can't try to put something together.
And that track had water in it. It just when the big stuff would dig down, 5, 6, 8 inches or whatever a foot, that's when they got into the drier dirt. So it was a good track out that way, I guess.
That's a good track there, Jason.
Yeah, look at that. So
that'd be interesting to go to see Babel's pull the first weekend and then their pull the second weekend.
Yeah, they wanted us to stream it. I didn't have the manpower. I kicked myself in the butt now for not figuring it out, but it is what it is. So
yeah. If you do everything the first year, there's no reason to go back the second year.
Oh, no, but you go back, you get smarter, you get better.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go back next year and we'll be smarter and we'll be able to do that. Hopefully I'll be in a better spot in life that I can be able to go. Done farming. Done with the nasty 4-letter word. Work.
Yep. But yeah, if you guys run into Steve Barker or the Batliners or Robbie Fagundas, thank them for coming on. Give them some compliments. It's fun. It's fun to hear the stories behind the helmet. I started doing that podcast series, Logan, 3 or 4 years ago, or we were doing some behind the helmet interviews. Hope and Chandler said I need to fire those back up again. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Was Chandler out at Princeton this weekend with the garden?
No, he was at Dyersville at the toy show. Dyersville, Iowa.
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever been to that thing?
I have not, but Chandler goes every year for us. So
I've not been personally, but my Chase, with the 2-engine mod, he's been out there. He took his boys out there a couple of times, and he said it's unbelievable. The school's just full, and we've talked about going, but we kind of dropped the ball on it this year and missed it.
We get a lot of good content for YouTube and Facebook out there, and some of the displays and stuff like that. And
I saw a couple really cool polling displays out there.
Yep,
absolutely. Yep.
There's a new Super Rooster toy, B&B Toys. I think Illinois is doing it.
Yeah, I did see that.
I think Bryce Howell is one of their distributors or toy guys like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, everybody, thanks for watching tonight. On behalf of Logan and Randy, have a good night.
Yep.
Don't drink too much, and if you do, don't drive. So
yeah. Thanks so much, everybody.
Peace. Here, I'll play Robbie's runs one more time before we log off.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Because I'm running it. So
it's your thing, Jason.
Kenzie can find the stuff way quicker than I can.
You're the boss.
Right out the end. Yeah, 340 and 24, and it's raining dirt. So 340 to get us.
Today. Let's talk about today.
You grab a national state level, you have to run non-sale, it's wholesale.
Is 9,000.
mistake I made. I didn't put it right in the registration movement.
Just this ever-evolving story.